Hello, everybody. Welcome back to True Footy Live. Bear with me. We have some guests today. We're getting them in the chat any second now. It's my fault. I was late. I was late as hell. I woke up too late here in the UK. Got about 4 hours sleep, I reckon. Not from going out. I just couldn't sleep. So it's good to have you all. I'm still firing everything up. But how is everyone? Who are we tipping today? We're giving Bombers a chance. Oh, we got our first person in the chat. Welcome, mates.
Hi, how are we?
Good, mate. How are you?
Not too bad. Cannot
Awesome.
complain.
I'm still getting set up here. Apologies for the sloppy start. I sent you and our other guest the link like 20 seconds ago.
Yeah, no, all good. I was just getting in the house myself, so all good.
No, perfect. Yeah, I slept in a little bit, didn't sleep well, and rushed to get my morning coffee. Really needed it. We got a few people in the chat. Footy Flicks says hi. Matty Tabs. Hey, Jesse, great win for the Melbourne Demons today. Very impressive, says Ashay Bra. He says, I'm so sad, North fan. And Ashay, forgive me if I'm saying that wrong, going Swans in this game, but Essendon will try and play good. So, yeah, start with you, Joyce. You just watched the North Freo game. I've obviously missed it. How was it?
It was a pretty interesting game. Tale of two halves, really.
Yeah.
Fremantle were dominated in the first half. Did not play well. Kind of looked like they hadn't got off the plane. North, to their credit, really took it up to Freo, but they probably didn't quite put them to the sword. As you know, often is the case with Freo, the defence maybe just bailed them out of a few North scores. So I think going into halftime, it was only probably 20 points or 25 points or something. Then Freo kicked, I think, 8 goals in the third quarter.
They did,
went from being like 20 points behind to like 20 to 30 ahead. From there it was always going to be tough for North.
Yeah, it's unreal. What did you think of North?
I thought they played pretty well, to be fair. Yeah, I thought they're pretty good. Their fans might be disappointed that they didn't come away with the win. Like, they're very inconsistent, but that's going to happen with young sides, and their best footy, to be fair, really matched up very well against Freo, I got to say.
I was expecting the game to go either way, just depending on what North brought, not because of like a knock on Fremantle.
Yeah.
So if I'd been up and seen that halftime score, I probably wouldn't have been shocked. But yeah, good result for Freo. Just getting back to the chat here. Docker's first quarters have been poor. Max says he's going to be here for 45. That's cool, mate. Good to have you. Ashay says North played with a lot of spirit. Fremantle third quarter won in the game. Bailey Banfield kicked the winning goal. I have to catch up on the game. Was it a good goal?
Well, I presume he means like in terms of when North were pushing a little bit in the fourth.
Yeah,
Banfield kicked a set shot.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
sweet. I'm not going to lie. I'm still trying to get the game up, as in Sydney and Essendon.
No, all good. I've just watched Gresham nail one. Good start for him.
The Bombers tend to play away in Sydney decent. So I don't know if this game is it's not a foregone conclusion. I don't think it's going to be a bashing. You'd expect Sydney to win. Like, this Sydney side has looked very good this first fortnight. So I'm just thinking it might be a better game than on paper.
Yeah. I think this contest has been a close one historically, I believe.
Yeah. So we're gonna get we got the man in the chat right now. Here we are. Rogie, let's add him to the stage. G'day, mate.
G'day, mate.
What is that angle up to you?
Yeah, just let me adjust my camera.
Perfect.
That should be right. Yeah.
Nice one. Good to have you, mate.
G'day, mate. How you doing? Good, thanks. Well, not so good, actually.
What'd you make of the Pies game, Rogie?
It was surprise, man. Not so good.
Did you go?
Yeah, I did go. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you go most weeks?
If I can, because I don't have. I couldn't get if it's ticket events, probably not, because getting tickets is a bit difficult sometimes. But yeah, if it's general access, I'll go as much as I can.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice fun. Cool.
What's your I was gonna say, what's your general thoughts, Rogie? Is it like a tactical game plan thing, or do you think just the hunger's not quite there, or
I think it's
both?
probably a bit of both, yeah. But I also like a lot of it comes down to like our older players are really struggling. Like I think the two that stand out to me are like Sidebottom and Mitchell. Like those two are really struggling, and you got to think it's kind of how much does their age have played into that.
Yeah,
like Sidebottom in particular, like his disposal is like horrendous. Yeah, like every time I thought he got the ball, I looked like he turned it over basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got rinsed by Saints fans for not tipping St Kilda. And I was kind of going for Collingwood for that reason. I was just like, I just want to be able to go back to those comments and be like, hey man, look at me now.
Yeah.
God damn it, Collingwood.
So this is definitely the salty Collingwood fan in me, but got a bit of help from the umps, I reckon.
Yeah, I saw the free kick count.
Yeah.
I kind of watched the second half of the game, I think, so I didn't see the whole thing, but free kick count was pretty one-sided.
Yeah. Again, I was at the ground, so I can't really...
Yeah, it is harder as well, especially with the crowd. Like, I used to walk away from heaps of Eagles games at Optus thinking we got robbed by the umpires, and then I'd look and we had like 7 more frees, and I'd be like, maybe it was just the crowd.
Yeah. There was a lot of like Saints fans there. It was a Saints home game, so...
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Ooh. Who was that? Was that Blakey?
Cunningham.
Did you see that, Jesse?
Yeah. I'm a little bit behind because I just got it up, but I saw it. Yeah.
I mean the game.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I got your image file. Yeah. Max says the past 8 games between Swans and Bombers, 7 of them have been by 10 points or less. I thought it was some crazy stat, but I never bothered to look it up. That's crazy. Snazzy Shoes says, let's go Dons. Keep the ball in our forward half. We don't have to worry. We're missing backmen. Yeah, that's true. Hi, Alex, by the way. So, Bombers got the first 2. That's all right.
Hey, it's on here early.
We were just... so this chat's been all over the place, but we were just talking about how Freo beats North today.
Yeah, I watched the first half and I checked the scores later. I was like, what the hell happened?
Yeah. I think it's a really good win because North are, in my opinion, they're going to be harder to beat at the start of the season than say maybe the middle. So I think that was a tricky fixture for Fremantle. So to come away with a win in a game that obviously didn't go their way last year.
You know what? A key matchup in that game was Jackson and Sherry, and in the first quarter and the first part of the second quarter, Cherry was really dominating Jackson because he's so strong, so physical, dominating the contest. But in the second half, you really noticed Jackson's legs. He really got on top of Sherry, around the ground, and he was involved in some real key contests. When the Dockers kind of managed to swing it back their way. Then once we had the momentum, we're able to capitalise, luckily. But it could have gone either way for sure.
Yeah. I even think North in particular, they're definitely something I struggle with is probably just being able to hold on to these and have put in a fourth quarter effort. Yeah. Because I stopped watching the second half, but watching this, not watching the second half, I was thinking Freo are gonna come back here.
Yeah,
and obviously they did. So,
what you always think, isn't it? Unfortunately, when North's up against a team, you just always have that feeling that the other team can come back, and it's such a hard thing to shake. I'm sure the North players even would feel it a little bit on the ground, it's always such a hard thing to overturn, right?
Yeah, I remember a couple of years ago, 2022, I think it was, we're 25 or 6 points down. I mean, if we quarter time, and we're coming back and winning that, over a goal. So North, just because they're so young.
Oh, geez, I think Wright might be in trouble here.
Yeah, you can't just shoulder bars like that.
Yeah. It didn't seem like he was necessarily trying to take him out, but I mean, like you go the bump, you hit him head high, you're going to be in trouble, right?
Yeah. Just careless.
Yikes.
Jesse, are you? Do we need to like pause for like 20 seconds?
Nah, not at all. I'm not too fussed. Unless it's an Eagles game, I don't really care about spoilers. But I'm a few seconds behind. But I think sometimes it just takes a while to settle. Essendon just kicked their first goal. That's where you are, right? We got a few people in the chat. Sorry, I'll just get back to them. What do I think of the Eagles this year? Next question. Graz chimes in with Eagles are the worst team in the AFL. That's I sort of blame
straight.
I blame you for gifting Graz a membership, Rogie. But he just comes in here and tells me the Eagles are the worst thing ever.
Well, he's not wrong.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say it's pretty fair analysis.
That's why I'm like, you can't give me any shit.
Yeah,
I saw your it was like a story something.
That was so tempting though. That was so tempting. Back to work.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, you.
Well, the thing is, right? The way I see it, I cop shit wherever the Eagles are on the ladder, unless we win the flag, and even then, I probably cop more negative shit. So I'm like, we're bottom of the ladder. We've had one game where, we lost by 50 points. On paper, that's kind of standard. It wasn't even particularly bad, and I'm still getting absolutely slaughtered. So what's the point of me holding back right now? Like, I
feel like if you're getting so much, you gotta give a little bit back.
100%. I actually don't even dislike Collingwood. I don't even really care about the hangover, but it was just so tempting with all the preseason narrative about back to work. I was just like, this is tempting. So.
Yeah. Like I'm completely staying off all social medias related to football.
Yeah.
Until we get a win.
It's just good it is good for the comp, right? To see like the grand finalists from last year kind of struggle a little bit. I think it goes to show like how I think the contest is so even. And it goes to show how if you're even like 2 or 3% off your game, like you'll get punished.
Yeah. Like who thought like this match next week, Collingwood Brisbane would be to get their first win for both teams.
Yeah.
Bit of a spoon bowl right there.
Yeah.
Clash of the Titans.
Clash of the Titans. Yeah. Oh man, it does take me back to 2019 when we were obviously the reigning premiers. Like in round one we got slaughtered by Brisbane, who were terrible at that time. They ended up coming second, but I remember just getting all the hate, like premiership hangover. The Eagles are shit. 2 weeks later, we beat Collingwood at the G in the grand final rematch to go 2-1, and people were saying, "Yeah, this is confirmed back to back." And I was like, "It's round 3. We've done the whole spectrum of emotions. In the end, we finished 5th."
Yeah, that's just football in general, just overreactions upon overreactions.
100%. Yeah.
Alex says,
losing hope. Yeah, go on.
Alex says, "Do you think Carlton will win the flag? What do you think, boys?
What do you think, Rogie?"
God, I hope not. No.
Surely it wouldn't matter too much though. Like you've just won a flag.
No, it does matter because I would finish the spoon if it meant Carlton didn't win the flag.
Really?
Wow.
That means pick one for Fremantle.
Yeah, I love that.
No, it seems like every time we give away a first round pick, we turn to shit.
Yeah, that's right. Lucky you had Dacos that year.
To be fair, I feel like even if we didn't have Dacos as like father son, we wouldn't have given away our first round pick.
Yeah,
and I think and we still probably Horn Francis was still probably getting taken pick 1 regardless. So we end up still at pick 2.
Yeah,
so we still probably end up getting Dacos regardless.
That's a good point. Yeah, that makes sense. Is Essendon lining? Oh no, it's a boundary throwing. Got to remember, Pies started badly last year, says Snazzy Shoes. And Kev's Magpies says Carlton aren't winning the flag. This, it is only so early in the season, but I in my preseason prediction, I put GWS versus Sydney. And so far, that's not looking bad. But it is only round one. Like, it could easily, those teams could finish 5th and 6th. Like, it could
I would
still
like for that to be the grand final matchup because then it would make us not look so bad.
Yeah. Yeah, as long as it's not Carlton for you guys.
Yeah.
I had Sydney to slide and Adelaide to rise.
Yeah. To be fair,
Yeah,
Adelaide
I
one we
as
all
well.
kind of just bought into.
Yeah, I had them going
Yeah.
up below too.
They still could, right?
100%. Geelong are good. Like, they're not going to be a shit team this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And losing to Gold Coast on the Gold Coast is not exactly a bad loss by like a point. Either.
Especially
Gold Coast finals this year.
Yeah, I reckon.
A possibility.
I reckon
Yeah.
they'll be good for 2/3 of the year and then miss. If I had to guess.
Yeah, I feel like they'll hover around the like 9th to like 12th kind of mark end of the year.
I still think Adelaide finish higher.
Yeah. This is their best chance they've had. Like most of
They're
their
still
whole-
probably relying on a few too many. I think, like if they had an injury to like Anderson or like Raul or Ben King, that would be big.
Yeah, like if their midfield gets beaten badly,
Yeah.
like, most weeks, then they get beaten badly. You would think.
They got a few veterans out of contract this year. I reckon they might have a bit of a shake-up, and maybe they could recruit someone. They're going to try and keep Ainsworth. That's probably their biggest focus, but does Sydney get a goal? Should I bother with the score? Yeah, I'll get the score up in a sec.
Whatever.
Who else played today? Hawthorn played
Yeah.
Melbourne.
They got slaughtered, didn't they?
Yeah, it looked like that.
They
I
did.
only saw like the halftime score. So
Yeah,
They played-
38-90.
They played okay. They played okay, but they just can't convert. They couldn't finish anything off.
Yeah.
wonder how old McGinnivan went.
Oh, well, Weddle did well.
Yeah, Weddle was awesome. He looks like he's got a lot of potential. Hey,
Yeah, he's going to be a player.
D'Ambrosio too, who came from the Bombers.
Yeah.
Two really
Oh,
big games in a row. Apparently, they think he can be like their Goulden.
Yeah.
so
Wow.
I just traded him in for Supercoach.
Yeah, I've got him
Yeah,
in
nice.
fantasy. I feel like saying he's their Goulden is probably a little bit nuffy. Nuffy fans sort of
Well,
talk.
as in like that's kind of the role they want to build him into, right?
okay.
Like the ball distributor is
Yeah.
what I meant.
Yeah.
Is that just go between the other guys' legs?
Didn't say.
StreamYard's giving me some grief. I'm trying to update the score, and I think I just put like the Port Adelaide West Coast score on the screen. God, that's my worst nightmare.
Trucker gone.
It's a good start by the Bombers. Universally disrespected. Possibly for good reason.
I mean, certainly kicked between the legs.
Oh, I think I'm way behind you guys. You were talking about the through the legs thing that's just happened for me. Let's try and catch up. Try to keep up with the chat here as well. Blaze
What happened
17
to,
makes a whole trip to Ballarat tomorrow. That's going to be a tricky game for the Dogs, I reckon.
Yeah.
I've tipped the Dogs because I'm a pussy, but I think like there's a big part of me that was tempted to tip the Gold Coast.
Is Ballarat like is Bulldogs play there?
They do,
Most
but I
years,
feel
yeah.
like they don't always win there. I think Gold Coast has beaten them there in recent times.
I'm pretty sure Adelaide beat them there last year.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. That rings a bell with me too. I'm not 100% sure.
Should be a good match though.
Oh, can you imagine the pressure if they lose to Gold Coast?
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh God, get Bever out of that club.
Yeah, I mean, they copped it for losing to Melbourne, who were good. Not saying that Gold Coast aren't necessarily, but yeah, that would be a bad loss.
I think it's not with Bevo. It's not even like the fact that like they struggle and they lose. Like with the list they have, they should be doing better. It's like what he does with his players, where he puts them. Like having like what he's done to Jack McRae, like right now, like apparently, like I saw like there was some journal that said like he's not going to be playing the team anytime soon.
Wow.
Like
Yeah, it's an
Daniel as well.
interesting one. This is probably the first time. Yeah, I try and stay away from like the hopping on the hate train, but this year, yeah, a few of the selection things. It's like I saw something about they plan to play Lob as like a centre half back as well, or something.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
He played a lot of ruck in the first match over English.
I think I got some thoughts on that. Blaze points out they did flog the Crows at Ballarat, but the year before they lost to them.
Okay.
Yeah, that rings a bell too. Because I remember Adelaide's poor record away from home last year being a talking point.
I remember that Ballarat one day, the Dogs lost game being like a really poor skill kind of game. I think it was pretty windy that day.
Yeah. The Blaze says they have a solid win rate there. Yeah, fair enough. A little bit blurry on that. The Bulldogs list is really interesting. So I think part of the problem for why they're probably playing these guys out of position is they've just got like stacked quality in specific roles, but all those players play the similar roles. So like Lob, like without knowing for sure, maybe they want to move him back to keep him in the side because they got Sam Darcy kicking goals in the VFL now, playing pretty much the same role. And then Sanders comes in and, okay, so he takes Smith's spot, but Smith's spot was, he was already pushed to a wing and half forward to begin with. And McRae likewise. Treloar was playing a half back last year. It's just almost like...
Do you not think it's like a slightly strange decision to like, even last week, I think Sanders, when he was red vested, was like the 9th highest rated player on the ground. And I know he's young, but it's like
he was pretty like
you could still win that game. Keep your best players on the field.
Danny was pretty like knackered. I heard.
Yeah,
Sanders.
And like McRae and Caleb Daniels, like you can't tell me that you can't fit those guys in the 22 somewhere, right? Not when like didn't they play like is it Bramble and who's the other guy they played? Gallagher.
Neil.
Was it Gallagher as well? And Gallagher was having a look. He played a lot of like midfield minutes as well. So just things like that. So I think honestly, I think the Norton behind the ball wouldn't be a bad move either. Like I feel like he could potentially be like an elite, like Tom Stewart McGovern,
the Port Adelaide
halfback. What?
Oh,
Aaron Norton.
Sorry.
Oh, you idiot.
I made that joke last time. It's just tempting.
I mean, that's why like Norton was recruited as a picky back.
Yeah. But I don't know, it feels like they're kind of robbing themselves of an A+ key back to have I mean, he's very good forward, but he's not A+, I wouldn't say.
Very much like he's in and out of the game, Norton.
What I will say for the Dogs, like the Blazers given us the win-loss history. It's 7-4. Max points out they beat the Crows by 45. They lost to the Giants by 5 last year. The year before that, they lost to the Crows by a point and beat the Suns by 19. So, yeah, solid. They're not terrible at that ground. But with the Dogs, though, one thing that is like reassuring for Dogs fans is that their list is actually quietly still stacked with young talent because of a combination of good drafting and father-son and academy. So obviously there's Jamara. Jordan Croft's like, here we go. Is that another goal for Essendon? It is. Jordan Croft is a first-round draft pick that they've just drafted. Busling is a highly rated key back that they drafted last year and apparently did well in the VFL. They've got Sanders and Sam Darcy. Like, there's still so much talent coming up from below that, if they do lose an English and a Smith, which is possible, I think they will lose Smith. English might be 50-50. I think they'll keep Jamara. But if it forces them into a bit of a list refresh, like they're actually in an okay spot. Certainly not like, West Coast. One thing I've noticed with West Coast, which is a little bit of a link to that Sanders point you made, was I've noticed we've really dropped. We're starting to really protect our teenagers in this team again. We didn't really have that luxury. But like for one instance, like they looked at the centre bounce attendances. Jinby barely started in the midfield at all last week. Whereas last year his numbers were like 70% CBAs.
Yeah.
It was like 20 or something this week, and Duggan spent more time in there than anyone, including Tim Kelly. Harley Reid spent a tiny bit in there, but they're managing him and putting him forward, getting him away from the ball, getting away from like getting beaten up. And somebody made the point, like, yeah, it may seem like a good idea to get all these games into kids now, but you run the risk of like being a Carlton or a Melbourne in terms of their failed rebuilds, where you're putting like Cruiser in the ruck at like 19 or whatever it was. And having some long-term thoughts. So yeah, long-winded way of saying maybe Beveridge is doing that with Sanders, not chucking him on ball. Like
how much is like with West Coast is like that due to like West Coast having a bit more soldiers back there in the midfield as right now, first injury? Yeah,
I mean a little bit. I mean it's still a light midfield to begin with. So Jinby's almost like our third or fourth midfielder already, like on quality. Like with Sheed out. So yeah, definitely we've got that luxury. Whereas last year, you look and Jinby, like at the start of the season, Simo said, I think he said Wisher, what the hell? Simo said, he's not going to play every game. We're going to rotate him through the back line. And then as the injury crisis happened, Jinby just like on ball, full games. Even Hewitt towards the back end got a lot of time on ball. So I think it's a good move. It just might be frustrating for fans when we see like Sheed waltz back into this side and stink it up.
Gaff's been dropped.
He has, yeah.
Pretty much you had to after like what did you get like 4 touches or something like that?
Yeah, in 2.5 quarters, but yes, still bad. Yeah,
he went well today in the waffle. I saw had 20 something.
Yeah, the Eagles smashed Subi, but I think they played a pretty weakened side Subi, which for context, Rogie, if you're not aware, Subiaco just generally dominate the waffle. I don't think that they didn't win last year. East Fremantle won, but still, like the Eagles had a winless season in the waffle last year, so to smash 2 opponents in the preseason is something.
It's a pretty good effort for a snap.
Not bad.
That was nice finish.
Play on Footy says MIA.
How like strong is like the waffle compared to like say like the VFL or the Sandful?
It's probably the weakest of the 3. Would you agree with that, Joycey? It's certainly not VFL level.
I really don't know enough. I know it's not VFL level. I don't really know how it compares to the Sandful.
Me neither. I sort of go off what other people say because I don't watch the Sandful. But probably slightly behind, I'd say.
Yeah.
I mean, one superficial way of looking at it is how those state games go, because WA plays South Australia a fair bit in like a waffle rep game.
Yeah.
And I think we lose those, but I could be wrong. I could actually be wrong. And it's only that doesn't really demonstrate it either. But good game of footy. I'd be happy for Essendon. Do you hate Essendon as well, Ruggy, as a Collingwood fan?
Yeah, not as much as Colin, but yeah, I don't like Essendon.
Yeah.
It's very much like Essendon's really easy to make fun of. Just because, like I just mentioned, like whatever the record streak is at the moment for the finals.
True. I'd be happy for him to get a win here and like just have a good season. I feel like
I'd be happy for them to do anything as long as they keep that streak alive. Because that is very funny.
Yeah, finish 8th and get bundled out.
Loved it when you guys beat them in, what was that, 2019?
Yeah, good memory.
The only thing I remember from that game is the Zach Merritt Nainui incident.
Oh yeah, shit, yeah, good memory.
Oh, he pulled his hair up.
Yeah. Well, he had to hold on to something. The only thing I really remember about that game was, I think that was the Rioli saga had happened that week, or the week after. It was actually after that game, I think. That's what I think of when I think of that game.
Now the elimination final of the next year. Now that was pretty good.
Oh yeah, fuck.
It was.
I was like, did we play Essendon?
No, it was the one where Collingwood beat them. Like it was like the
Uh,
unwinnable game. I think someone said.
Yeah. That game didn't faze me too much because I felt like we'd already cooked our season like towards the back end of the year. But the one that really hurt my feelings, if you want to know the biggest Collingwood loss that's ever hurt, was the home and away game in Perth in 2019. You also won that by a point.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
That sucked. I was in Croatia on my way to a wedding. I literally watched it in the morning in Dubrovnik or wherever we were. And as soon as we lost, I had to like put my suit on and get on a boat to this beautiful island for this amazing wedding with all my family. And I'm just sitting on the boat going, oh, that was one of the worst losses I've ever experienced.
Probably the worst loss that I can remember, other than like grand finals. Even this is another finals game, but the 2019 prelim just hurts. That was just so.
Is that GWS?
Yeah, GWS. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember like we getting smashed at one point, and I remember I went for like a walk for like a 10, 20-minute walk, and like thinking, oh, we're no hope. And I come back, we're like within like a goal. I'm like, what happened? And then got my hopes up, only for that to be crushed.
and then lost again. Yeah.
I think we streamed that game together, Joyce, actually.
Yeah.
I reckon it was that day you came up
I think
to
we
Perth.
did actually.
We came up to Perth. Right. We had a few beers. We were going out, and you got violently ill.
That's right.
And then drove back. Like you,
yeah, that's right.
But like you were unwell. Fuck.
I forgot about that. And I hit like roadworks.
What's that?
So I do remember the stream you did for the 2020 grand elimination final, the Collingwood one, whatever. So I do remember you being like not that bothered, and just me thinking, come on, be more bothered, please.
I mean, part of that was probably just more me like, I don't care, man. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yeah. I definitely wasn't happy. But like I said, there was a very real sense of like, yeah, it would have been nice to win. Yeah, I hate losing finals, but like we didn't lose our chance at winning a flag here because we did that, in various points of 2020.
I remember going to next week against Geelong, feeling just kind of confident that we could pull it off, and just got absolutely destroyed. So
that's why 19 bothered me more, because I thought we were trying to go back to back. I can't remember where we were on the ladder, but I reckon we were in the top 3 race for like the entire up into the final round. So
thank you, Hawthorn.
Yeah, I know. My God, that was really bad too. But I think the Collingwood one like made me sadder.
Yeah.
Because I think we might have established ourselves in the top 2. In the end, it cost us top 4, like losing to Collingwood as well. But that one felt like that was the game that ruined our season, whereas the elimination final didn't.
Kev's Magpies 2022 preliminary final hurts for me. I wasn't really that phased as like 2022 the prelim. I was like, because going to the year, I was like, we came out of nowhere, so I was like happy just to be there.
Yeah.
The time we lost, I was like, oh, we put up a good fight. But even like going to the next week, I'm thinking, even if we win the game, I think we get smashed by Geelong.
Yeah.
So like, I don't mind losing the prelim if it saves a grand final heartbreak.
Yeah, true. In 2022, the West Coast Collingwood upset in round 4 was in the back half of the year. It would be. Oh yeah, I see what he means. Max is saying, when the Eagles beat Collingwood somehow, it had that happen later in the season.
Game.
Yeah,
you were at that game. Yeah, went by myself.
I think I streamed it.
Had a great time.
Yeah, that was weird. That was like that's the hardest result to explain I've ever seen West Coast like pull off. I'm just like, I don't know how, because everything prior and after was awful. I would argue it was more surprising than the Bulldogs win we had last year. And the reason being is because we didn't really dominate. We just kept kicking every shot. We kicked 14 goals 3.
It's a bit of a whatever. It happens a lot against us. Teams kicking straight to the line, maybe at least.
Yeah.
I feel this year was like GB West round 1 was round 0. Was like that was like record breaking, like some accuracy they were going on.
Oh, really?
Like I think like we were really bad as well. I feel like the expected scores was like 20 points either way.
Yeah.
Like we were expected to be scored 20 points more, they're expected to score 20 points less.
Wow. Huh. Interesting.
Saints kicked pretty straight for most of the game the other night as well. Sydney didn't, but
Saints impressed me the other night. I thought they looked really, really good.
Wayne and
carry,
so good.
Yeah. All those, I was saying to Jesse, like they have so many dynamic players, like him, even Windhager, Liam Henry, Machito. Like they're all real versatile, multi-positional players that Ross can really easily just kind of switch around. But yeah, I thought they looked really impressive.
Yeah, like their outside runners really like they just seem to always be on their own.
Yeah,
like I never noticed that with Liam Henry in particular, and Wang in the middle was like every time I saw him, he was just like on his own.
Yeah,
great ball use from Wang in the middle in particular.
I had him in my fantasy team, and then I like cut him, not for any reason other than just like, you just move around your budget, and then you're like, oh, now I can't afford him. And like he ended up outside of my team, and I'm kicking myself. Hayden Young, from a fantasy point of view, has not delivered.
Yeah, he's a trade out. What happened there, Joycey? I didn't watch this game today.
He got 21 touches.
It wasn't too bad. I think it's just more of a rotational thing. Hey,
because his ball use was like really bad the first rounds at when one.
His ball use is actually his ball use is quite overrated. I think, like you often hear the commentators say, he's like at this elite kick, and he can be, but he's not. I don't think his sort of like hit rate would actually be amazing. Brayshaw was the one that really turned it around today. Like
I thought Brayshaw was pretty good. It was really good.
And last week as well, he was really impressive. I think that's actually gone a long way to Freo starting well. We have a bit of midfield depth all of a sudden with Young in there and Fife fit again. So previously it was just like Sarong and Brayshaw and whoever was fit, normally like O'Meara or something, and we would be getting flogged out of centre clearance, but they'd just be going the same three CBA like every single bounce. Whereas now we have a bit more luxury to be able to like flick things around if it's not quite working. So I think today Young, Fife, Sarong started in there. Fife and Young only had one clearance I saw to quarter time. Then he started playing Brayshaw in there, and we suddenly started to actually win a lot more clearances.
Where does Brayshaw play when he's not in the centre?
The wing, would it be?
Yeah.
Right.
That was like the worry with like, because he was like a good option for like a lot of preseason for Supercoach. In particular, I kind of like a lot of people like soured on just because like there was a worry he would play too much wing time.
Yeah. Like the two games in a row, I think Fife, Young, Sarong has been the preferred go-to, and even that game. So definitely wouldn't necessarily be 100% sold on Brayshaw just yet, but I think he's just such an elite runner. He goes for the whole game, right? Like that he can have a poor first quarter or have like very little impact on a game, but still finish on 100 because of what he does in just two halves.
Yeah. I saw like Fife. I think I saw like Fife had got sub. Did he?
Yeah. Just management.
Just management. Okay. Yeah.
How late in the game?
3/4 time. He actually had a pretty good game. I think.
I was going to say, because He's in my fantasy team.
Yeah.
And I was like, a goal and
Well.
19 possessions. That's solid. But I didn't know it was in 3 quarters. That's even better.
Yeah.
I really wish he probably would have stayed on because I did trade him in this week for Supercoach. I didn't start him. And then, of course, I trade out Lazaro, who did win all right.
Oh, I didn't have him.
Yeah, but
Who have I got in this game? Max says Brayshaw and Jackson were very good today. And he also captained Nick Dacos this week and he got 61.
yeah, it's rough. I have a VC on him myself.
Yeah, I had Rowan Marshall. He got 86.
Yeah. Like Darcy Cameron's had a bit of an underrated season, so start to the season so far.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah,
He's kind of like
good.
got ahead of. I think he's almost like won like the right contest this year, or like pretty much evened it out basically.
Yeah,
which is a bit more than I was expecting, but have to see it.
And Sarong's going to be a Sarong's just like so good at the moment. Hey,
Yeah.
Could have 6 Brownlow votes.
I captained him this week as well in Classic, which is nice.
Good call.
I'm absolutely kicking myself because I had Saron in my Supercoach team, like a lot of the preseason, and I took him out to like the structures and all that, and then he obviously pulls out like a 170 and now like a 140, so that's killing me. And then LDU kind of scored, looked on fire, and then he kind of slowed down. Just looking at the Supercoach fantasy scores.
And my Classic's going all right this week. I got Jordan Clark too. He's on 99. He's not a bad option because like he's going to be the distributor with Young pushing into the midfield.
Yeah. Okay. Good point.
Isaac Heaney, 38, pretty good.
Gosh, he's had a great start to the year as well.
Yeah.
I thought I was a bit of a genius getting Riley Bonner in my team. I feel like that was one that was a little bit slept on. He was in fantasy like 400k. I think he scored. Well, he had 30 touches in the preseason game, and then he started with a 90. I think 98 or something in round 1. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Then back down to earth with a 60. Oh, he was the sub. That's right. He was the sub, and then they got an early injury, and he got 60. But hopefully, he's probably a trade out if he's sub, like Mason Wood. That's right. Mason Wood got injured.
Billings good.
Apparently, Henry got injured too. So maybe he's
69. Not what I want, but nice.
Yeah.
I trade out Fisher who gets 100. So
did he get 100? Oh, in Supercoach.
Supercoach, yeah.
Yeah, he got 85 in fantasy.
I traded him out. Maybe it was like just awful ball use last week, but also because like I just don't think he's a very good player for the most part.
Yeah, fair
enough.
enough.
I'm killing myself because I should have kicked myself. So I sort of like I don't know. I think one of the main rules is like pick players you actually think are really good.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I got forced into it. Obviously, ended up doing well this match, but yeah.
Ashay says if Sarong keeps on this form, he can be in the All-Australian team. Well, he did it last year. I think he could be the Brownlow contender that nobody really talked about. Like, he's not a sexy Brownlow prediction for some reason, but he could easily win it because it's really about consistency as much as anything. And Sarong is a very consistent player and only turning 24 this year, I reckon. 23?
Yeah, I think 23.
Yeah, 23.
I think, probably most people probably would have thought Freo wouldn't win enough games, right? That'd be the
What draft was Sarong?
2019.
Yeah.
Catch him, Max. Thanks for being here, mate. Petra's in the chat saying good content. It is a good game. So far, it's lived up. Sydney kicked the last 3, I reckon.
Yeah.
By my math, according to my statistics.
I think you're probably right.
Yeah.
I didn't do too bad in fantasy last week. Did better than I did in Supercoach. Supercoach was pretty poor.
I got 1999 in fantasy.
Yeah, I ended up having a look through like the True Footy League Like just scrolling up and down to see what anyone got. I got like
Yeah.
22,000 something.
You did?
Yeah, I think it's like I had like in True Footy League, I was like 50 something, 50th something.
Wow, nice.
This is the first year I'm playing fantasy, so
Nice.
Damn, that's humbling.
I mean I played Supercoach for the next few years, or past few years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
carries over a bit.
When I first put out, I did a couple of like fantasy team reveals because I was blatantly just asking people for advice. And the first one I did, like 7 comments were like, "Yeah, you've got so many opening round players with early buys," and I was like, I completely forgot to even consider that. Thank God I did that video.
Yeah, I remember leaving a few comments on those.
Who's got the buys next week? Not Collingwood.
GWS and Gold Coast.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, GWS have 2 buys in a row because they play tomorrow.
Yeah. I put the captaincy on Green for Supercoach. I think this year is definitely a bit of like the changing of the guard for the midfielders, because some of like
GWS.
the midfielders have really stood out early season. I know it's early, but like Kelps are on, Tom Green, Matt Rao is having a great start to the season.
Yeah, they're all 2019 draft.
Nick Dacos as well.
Yeah.
It just seems like young players are getting better quicker. Right. And I'm sure a lot of that comes down to just like, I think a lot of these guys are literally training as professional athletes when they're like 15 years old now, whereas I think 10 years ago, probably still having a nice coffee and a pie like for lunch every day and at the school canteen at that age. Like,
yeah.
Just get in the footy field. That's your training for the day.
True. Yeah, I mean, like, have we ever seen as ready-made prospects as Riley Sanders and Harley Reid? I don't know if that's like in terms of physical size.
Some ready-made prospects like Campbell Chester.
Yeah. He played like 6 games in 2 years when we drafted him, and then he missed an entire first year as well, and then did his MCL in the 4th year.
I'm really expecting from Chester to see his like Supercoach scores and that, because like he was a rookie, probably a rookie for a lot of it, and it was like stuff in like the 20s and the 11s and all that.
Yeah, I don't blame him for that. I think he's had a really rough start to his career playing in a horrific side.
Yeah, it's a hard place to start.
Yeah, and especially when you've missed so much football, like going into the draft, let alone after the draft. I think, not to get overly defensive about it, but I just think I'm actually like pretty happy with how Chess has come back. Like he's won a spot.
He looked good round 1 when he came on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think there's been a bit more like, I don't know, focus on Chesser because, I don't know, some people think he kind of like reached through as a bit of a surprise like pick at that point?
Not from Eagles fans. I do hear it from Fremantle fans.
Well, I think that was general consensus.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
No, not challenging on that part, because I remember at the time I was like, why did we pick Chesser? I don't know if he gets any more negative attention. I do think he has clearly not quite looked as good as like a Jinby or even a Reed. Like I think people just try and compare apples with apples, whereas I don't think it really is fair on Chess. I don't think that's truly apples with apples, if that makes sense. That's from an Eagles point of view.
Plus, I mean, you're not going to nail every pick either. I think most of your other picks have been pretty good in hindsight.
Yeah.
If
he simply becomes the best 22 player, I'll sleep
you'll
easy.
take that. Yeah.
And I do think he's trending that way, to be honest. Like the rate of improvement has been very solid. Like he might not get a rise, or actually he's not eligible for the Rising Star anyway. But
he definitely won't get a Rising Star.
I meant nomination.
Sorry.
Nomination. And then I realized he's played.
I mean, maybe not one of those either, but
well, if he had, I think he'd be capable of a nomination like towards the end of the year. But he's played too many games now.
Yeah.
He was 2021. 2021, because those like 2020, 2021 drafts are like, they're definitely like some of the biggest like hit or miss kind of drafts because of the COVID stuff. There isn't so much football.
Yeah. That's very
Speaking
true.
of like ready-made players, I was reading the other day, Jed Walters is like
Yeah, in his debut.
He's 97 kilos.
Another one of those ready-made prospects.
He's like bigger than like literally 90% of AFL players when he's like 17.
He's a jet. It hurts. He's from Perth and was an Eagles fan.
Are you joking?
Yeah, but he like moved to Gold Coast when he was a kid, or like in high school or something. Yeah.
Logan McDonald's a Collingwood fan. He wants a Collingwood
That's
fan.
true. That's true.
From Perth, though.
Yeah, Perth Demons. That's our footy. That's our waffle club. As in me and Joycey. Historically,
I think to even call them my waffle club is a stretch, hey. But
true.
I have a soft spot for them, yeah.
Yeah, you're probably more Peel, and I'm more West Coast reserves than I am Perth, but I still loosely support them. If it was a final, I would support Perth over the West Coast reserves.
Yeah.
Even actually in a home and away game, I would support Perth. I'd hope Perth win by a point, and all the best players are Eagles reserves players.
Yeah. It's a bit like the VFL because there's not a lot of like. Obviously, there's a bit of like non-affiliated clubs. It's a bit different compared to the waffle, where a lot of it's made up by non-affiliated clubs.
Yeah.
So like, if I had to pick a team like other than obviously Collingwood reserves in the VFL, it's probably like Port Melbourne. And that's mainly because like we got my check from.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It was a little while ago. I was watching like that grand final when Port Melbourne beat Richmond, like 2019 or something, 18 something like that. I can't remember when. But I remember watching that game and seeing like a fair few Collingwood people these days. Like Craig McRae was coaching Richmond. The VFL was Richmond at the time.
Oh really?
And like Markov was playing for Richmond.
Yeah.
And obviously my check was playing for Port Melbourne. It's a fair few.
That was just Sydney's transition game on show there.
I dream of Heaney.
Yeah, they are going to, if this wasn't going to shock anyone, they are going to destroy West Coast in 2 weeks.
Like, don't need to destroy West Coast even when they're good.
Yeah, it's just like we always really suck against Sydney, but like particularly this modern Sydney, the way they go end to end and like cut up zones and transition really quickly is exactly it's the sexy way that they're beating everyone, but it's also the most devastating way to play West Coast. That is our weakness. Yeah. And we've got Port, GWS, and Sydney as some of the best teams in the league. Like in 5 rounds, we're going to have some horrific results potentially. Thankfully, we don't have to go to the SCG. We play these guys in Adelaide Hills, but I'd still bet on 100 points.
Yeah. How much was it last year? It was like massive last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, 171.
Yeah. They got the 200 points, didn't they?
Yeah.
Sydney, yeah.
Hopefully,
it's a bad contest, but like you like it just for the novelty of it.
Even I was kind of hoping they'd get to 200 for some sick reason. I was just like, well, they're 190. Like, might as well see the score tick over. I think that's cool. And then when he kicked the goal, I was like, oh, I want to throw up. This is horrible. G'day, AFL Derby. Just getting back to the chat there. Jordan wants opinions on North. We did sort of cover it before. What do you think? I guess to reframe the question, what do you, Joyce, if you had to take a punt, like what was the difference of Fremantle getting on top in the second half?
Oh, it was just being able to capitalise on their opportunities, but I wouldn't say Fremantle necessarily had more opportunities.
Yeah.
Over the total course of the game. So yeah, that's probably the main difference for me. Which probably comes down to the backlines, I would say, without wanting to have a shot at North.
Yeah, backline is definitely like North's weakness in terms of like they got a fair few like good runners down there. Coaches, Fishers and all that, but like they struggle for like real defensive kind of players.
Yeah. That Tom Powell's had a pretty good start this season.
Yeah.
I did my best 22 series over the off season. I remember putting Powell in, and I'm sure some North fans were like, "Nah, don't pick him." But he's had 28 and 2 today, and I think last week he had like 26 and 6 clearances.
Yeah, he was good.
So fair
I
play.
like Bailey Scott as well.
He's good.
Their midfield is really good. Like, honestly, they were absolutely chopping us up in the first half. Their midfield, mostly LDU, and Zerha was really good in their late game as well. They moved Zerha on the ball.
Okay.
The Paul Curtis as well was just like a pretty good small forward as well.
Yeah. I like him. Hey,
in terms of North, though, like it's not someone you like. Obviously, like losing doesn't feel good, but like you gotta admire a bit of the way you go about it. Like at least you're showing something. And I think with North, it's like you're not gonna like maybe win like a lot of games, but like the way you're playing right now is already so much better than like a lot of last year.
For sure.
This is the best they've looked in a long time, in my opinion. And you can see what they're doing. You can see the system. You can see like the young players coming through, and they've got like at least about 10 of their young players. You're like, oh yeah, you're going to be very good in a few years.
I think last year, like when they started well, LDU was amazing, Sheasel was amazing, but interesting to look at the stat sheet this time, and then like midfielders in like Phillips and Powell like really come and add a little bit of depth there. That's probably one difference, plus extra run off half bat, like you said, Rogie. There's a few more defensive runners there, like Fisher and McKercher, in addition to Sheasel. So yeah, maybe there's a little bit more depth. Hopefully, I can handle the length of the season a bit better here as Papley goals.
Wardlaw definitely looks pretty good.
I don't like Papley.
Aiden Long.
I don't like Papley.
You don't like him?
Nah. Still got memories of deplete them. I also just think he's one of those players like he plays for your club, you love him.
Yeah.
But like just gives it to the opposition.
It's probably like Cripps for us, maybe. Without obviously Cripps doesn't have the profile of Papley, but
yeah,
I've seen Cripps be annoying, but also like because he's doing it in a blue and gold jumper, I'm like, yeah, get in there, Jamie, give it to him.
I feel like Cripps is someone every opposition fan thinks he's like this dour pressure forward, but West Coast fans actually know he's actually like highly skilled, like finisher.
It's weird because sometimes when you watch a player kick, like to use another West Coast example, the way Shuey kicked the footy, you're just like, that is so technically beautiful. Like hits the ball, nice velocity. Cripps doesn't have that, but he just like maybe not later in his career, but like in his prime, he just didn't miss. He didn't miss set shots. Like you'd be like a slightly up and under, look a little bit clunky, but he'd kick 5 goals straight some games. Interesting Eagle. One of my favorites. I've realized later in his career, like he's actually one of my favorite Eagles.
He's definitely like an underrated player for you guys.
I mean, he did have a touch of the fumbles for about 2 years, to be fair. I think that contributed to the underrated tag. And now, well, at least the end of last year and the preseason, he's like in career best form again. And it's like, thank God.
That was a bit too casual from Lloyd there.
He's really gone downhill since he played young Anakin Skywalker in The Phantom Menace. I actually remember Dwayne Russell saying that, like, at the start of Jake Lloyd's Sydney career.
No way.
He did, yeah. He's like,
That's
Jake
awesome.
Lloyd, that's a bit of a famous name in Hollywood. And there was a bit of a silence. And he's like, played young Anakin Skywalker in The Phantom Menace.
That's hilarious.
Like, what?
How do you know that?
That's so niche. Like, that is not a famous name at all.
It's not a story the Jedi will tell you.
Yeah, exactly. It really isn't. Not from a Jedi. I'm really into my Harry Potter quotes now as well. Like,
What do you mean now?
You must.
Yeah, good point. Good point. I mean, like, because I went through a huge Palpatine phase, and I still love Palpatine quotes, but like unsolicited, random Harry Potter quotes out of nowhere make me laugh just as much now.
Yeah.
Like that Liam Stapleton guy on TikTok or Instagram.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Pick it up. Pick it up. Pick it up.
Pick it up. Pick it up. Kiss me, Nagini. Are you a Harry Potter man at all, Rogie?
Here and there.
Here and there, yeah.
I've seen
I think you have to
movies.
be pretty hardcore to like get the
For
quotes.
the quotes, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not as
Like, I can
quotable
hit him
as
with
Star
a few
Wars,
too.
probably.
You say that, but then like I drop sometimes Harry Potter quotes and people
I mean, stuff
laugh
like,
because they're like, "Fuck, I know
I'm
that."
gonna Leviosa, not Leviosa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aiden Long says bye, but before that he said, "I hope the Eagles don't lose by 100 points, and I'll take it." The negativity is so bad around West Coast right now.
I would like for that to happen.
I feel like I've just copped shit preemptively for the Eagles for this season. It's like part of me is just like, yeah, okay, we suck. But like at least wait until we have a really bad loss before I start copying it this bad.
Yeah. Honestly, there's a bit of like I need to take my hair out on someone for the Pies.
What was that,
I think if I've got to take my anger out on someone for the Pies.
Yeah, fair
I
enough.
feel like if we were doing well, I don't think I would be giving it to you as much.
Yeah, fair enough.
A bit more pity, but I don't have much of that at the moment.
Yeah,
This is a big goal.
that is a big goal. This is a good game. I keep saying that. And it's almost like I kind of worried that Essendon's going to keel over and then they kick a goal.
Sydney Essendon games are always pretty good.
Hot Plastics is one of the few things consoling North fans is that we aren't West Coast. So stoked we don't have that injury list.
Yeah.
Our injury list isn't
All
too
the
bad yet. It's not great, but I honestly don't think it's as long as Fremantle's. Like Fremantle's had a few injuries, eh?
Yeah, a couple. Yep.
I think it's just a little bit of an overhang of last year and the year before, where like every injury we get, everyone's just like, "Oh, here we go again." But it's like if you take a balanced approach, we don't have the worst injury list in the league.
Oh my god! How far out of bounds was that? That was a horror shocker.
More out of
Jack
bounds than
Higgins
Jack Higgins goal.
I mean, the Jack Higgins one was 50-50 to be fair, but
No,
Yeah,
man,
I
I
thought-
was right in that pocket. It was out. I was in the. I had went to the got MCC tickets actually that game.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I had a mate who his dad is a member, so he got some guest tickets or something for me. Some good fun.
free
That's
kick
sick.
Maynard. Free kick Maynard.
You know
Sorry.
what?
Couldn't resist.
If anything, he was blocking Rioli.
Rolly doesn't need anyone to block him but himself.
Yeah.
No, I'm over it. I'm over that now. That bad man dump sheet can't hurt me anymore.
You got your flag, didn't you? So
Yeah.
got to be happy.
Yeah, I don't care at all about 2015. Hot Plastics just asking for a summary of the Eagles are out. The Eagles that are out. In terms of best 22 players, okay, yeah. So Oscar Allen does suck.
Yeah, that was
Sorry,
bad.
the injury sucks. And Dom Sheed, Matthew Flynn are probably the other two, and you could probably say that Elijah Hewitt would be in the team if he was fit. But I think that's it. Like the rest of them are just like 2-week injuries. Liam Ryan. So it's not great.
Hewitt's a frustrating one, isn't it? Considering how much time was spent in the rehab only for them to just be like, unfortunately, it hasn't worked, and we'll have to go down the surgery route.
It's annoying because this
It's unlucky.
happened a lot for West Coast, where we constantly go down the path of we're just waiting to see how it settles. We're going to try and avoid surgery. Then they spend weeks not playing, and then are like, we've decided surgery. But I do get it, like as much as it frustrates me, because there is always a medical duty of care, right? Because if you've got a player, and they're acting on doctor's advice too, you got a player trying to avoid surgery. It's probably a little bit irresponsible to be like, no, we're not sure if you need surgery, but let's just get it so we get you back faster. You got to do the thing that's right for the player.
It is pretty crazy sometimes how like thirsty fans are for like an ETA, but it's just like it's not really how injuries and rehab works. Like there is no set time frame, is there? It's like
people like
even
long-term injuries.
during the week, there was that many times I saw that Justin Longmuir get asked how long Oscar McDonald will be out for.
Mm.
And he's like, oh, well, we're still analysing it. And then the journalist would be like, so like 12 to 14 or 15. And he's like, well, we have to wait for the swelling to go down before we can scan it.
Yeah.
And the journalist would be like, so you're thinking long term. Yeah.
They just want a quote is what they're searching for, someone desperate for like something they can put in the paper.
And in the end, they kind of like almost bullied him into being like, oh, it's pretty serious. But like he basically refused to give them a timeline.
Yeah. I feel like Collingwood is pretty good with like giving like timeline and stuff like that and like how long exactly was, because our injury updates are pretty, I think it's probably one of the most like open in the league for like like what our injuries are and how long they're going to be. Like the only ones that like at the moment they're like in terms of injuries, like which players like unknown is like McStay, because obviously ACL. Those are always kind of touch and go for like later on. The other one's Murphy, and he's just a bit of like
concussion.
He's fully just like confidence to be able to play.
I think I've noticed. I don't know if I'm just keeping an eye out for it more, but in my head, I feel like I've noticed more clubs are not giving timelines.
Yeah, look at Geelong. They just do long term, short term.
Yeah. And to be fair, like they don't. It's totally up to their discretion. Like as much as we want to know roughly how many weeks, I kind of respect the club's right to be like, we don't know, so we're not going to put a timeline on it.
Yeah. So I just want to jump in and acknowledge Ahan, who said hello ages
Whoa,
ago.
What was that?
He says Bombers back in the game, just as Sydney just hit the front as we acknowledge that. Hello, Ahan. I don't think this has necessarily happened, but do you reckon if the Bombers win here, it'll be like the biggest boil over of the season so far?
We have to see. Like, boilovers are pretty hard to like really analyze to like later on in the year when we can really get a grip of like what it actually means.
I suppose it's been like compared to like what we think about Sydney versus what we think about Essendon. If Essendon knock them off, having like them beating Collingwood in the way that they did was a bit of a boil over in a sense, because we thought Collingwood would win that game, let alone not get pantsed. Oh, what a goal! I just saw the replay there.
Was it kind of just rolling in anyway, though?
Yeah, maybe. Goal of the year, bro.
Like going into the game, you would think like Fremantle. Maybe not even really, because it was a Fremantle home ground, but like the Brisbane game was like that was like just how they end up winning. They're just really, really dominant. Yeah, that was a bit of a boil over there.
Yeah,
I think I was probably being skeptical though, but I felt like I learned just as much about where the Lions are at as where Freo are at from that game. And I think that a lot of people were way too confident going into the North game on the back of Freo beating Brisbane. Because Brisbane were really bad for some stretches against us. So I don't think it was like just a fact that we just dominated like Brisbane at their peak. Like, that's just not true. They were completely off their game.
I think that's a very fair and balanced take on it. I think the fact that Freo has done it 2 weeks in a row is a huge positive, though, because like you sort of alluded to, like with Fremantle, we kind of expect them to pull out a good game, but then it's like, well, maybe not next week, but like how consistent can they be? So I think this was always going to be a tricky game. So them winning, I thought it was almost as positive today, let alone what happened last week.
I do think we are probably like the difference between our best and worst is probably like the biggest in the league.
Yeah. Certainly wasn't in results last year.
Yeah.
Definitely. Although you could argue West Coast as well, simply because, like, oh, nice shades, bro.
Yeah.
I think West Coast like sunk. Like, what's the lowest? Like, what are the different layers of the earth?
Well,
the crust.
Yeah, the
Like
inner crust, outer
Earth's
crust,
core.
and then whatever's below the 50 feet of crap below that. That was where West Coast were.
The thing is, the league is brutal, right? Like professional sports is brutal. So just because like you think West Coast could improve, it doesn't actually mean that they'll win more games because the rest of the league is so like no one's going to take it easy. Like everyone wants the 4 points, right? And I do feel like it's entirely possible. Like teams like North and West Coast improve, but only get in West Coast case they could get the same amount of wins or one more win, and I think it's possible North only end up with like one or two more as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. Both teams were so far below the next worst team last year as well.
Yeah,
in a game in a league where 5% probably separates most teams on any given day. West Coast, particularly West Coast, on their bad days, were far more than 5% off. But those teams on average were probably like 10% off. So for them to improve by 5%, it's significant. But then it only gets you to Hawthorn last year, who came third last.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
I would tip if North and Hawks were playing tomorrow. I would tip Hawthorn. Sorry, North.
I would too. But ask me again in round 17, and I reckon that's where I think North will be vulnerable.
Yes, Rogie.
I'm trying to think who you remind me of. Some character.
I was thinking
what's his name? Morpheus.
I was thinking the Weasels in The Wind and the Willows.
I don't know.
Did you ever watch that?
No. I don't know what that is.
Someone in the chat back me up.
All I know is
I think it is Morpheus I'm thinking of, yeah.
All I know is I got these from like a package from my mate. Some random, with a bunch of random shit in it.
The Bombers really do have a stack of players that are like around that Sarong 22, 23 age that could explode, or they could just be medium players. Blind mice from Shrek.
That's a good one.
A bunch of them glasses.
I don't see it with Essendon. I'm sorry, Bombers fans. I just don't quite see it.
Getting back to the point, though, like I think you look at some of these players who could be guns, and at one point were considered potential guns, specifically Caldwell, Perkins, Nick Cox. I mean, he's been injury ruined so far, but hopefully he gets better. Who else is there?
He's injured right now with Zach Reid.
Yeah. Zach Reid's another one. There is upside there, is what I'm saying. Now, with Essendon, we probably don't have the same level of trust that they're going to get the best out of these players. If Archie Perkins played at Collingwood, I mean, probably a bad example. Archie Perkins was unreal last week, so maybe he is a gun. But I just mean, sometimes talent's one thing, but it's about also being able to develop that talent.
You know what? Every single team, other than probably West Coast, and possibly Hawthorn, I feel like has an elite midfield right now. Like, I go into every game and I'm like, we could easily lose like the clearance battle here, and I consider our midfield to be quite good.
Yeah. Strangely, we actually didn't get slaughtered in the midfield against Port. We lost it narrowly if you just look at clearances and contested possessions. But then on the outside, which is still, that still could be midfield, that's where we get slaughtered.
Same as Freo. I think we're a really strong stoppage team. But our transition is really bad. Really bad. We never ever go like coast to coast.
Essendon.
Yeah, same. I mean, different levels there, but yeah. So I mean, we've only had one game, but And our best clearance mid is probably Bailey Williams. It's weird. He wins. He won like 7 clearances playing like mostly ruck last week. Such a random tag team of misfits up midfield.
Last performance.
What was that, sorry, mate?
Yeah, he definitely improved on his last performance.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Well, the thing with Williams, though, I think what we're trying to do is turn him into a forward. He spent the whole preseason as a forward, and then right before our preseason games was like, "Oh no, you're gonna ruck again, bro." And in the preseason game, like he barely got near it. But I do think, looking back on it, I think we did ruck Livingston and Barnett a lot in that game.
Yeah.
And now we've picked Barnett in the ruck. So for everything I said before about us protecting our youth, we've picked a 19-year-old ruckman to number 1 ruck against GWS. So
actually, Barnett's playing.
Yeah, Barnett's
he's on my ruck bench.
Yeah. Oh shit, I should have. Yeah, I picked Livingston as my bench. I should have gone Barnett when the season started, but
I've started Briggs in. I went Briggs over Cameron this week in draft because I got both of them, but just purely for the West Coast factor.
Well, if he was playing against Williams, I think he'd just have a normal game. If he was playing against Barnett, he's probably going to be huge.
Well, I knew Cameron was playing against Rowan Marshall as well, and Cameron still had a great game. To be fair, like he's a really good player.
He beat Grundy too, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yep.
Yeah. So
he's a really good player.
He played well against US as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. No, he's had a great year.
I remember last year he started really strong, right? Just before and then he got injured, right?
Yeah.
Was it in the Anzac Day game? I think he was absolutely killing it. I think.
I'm struggling to remember, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay.
When I was like mid early last year, we had like massive gap in our rucks, just because Cameron and Cox were both injured. So we ended up playing McStay and Johnson and Frampton.
Yeah.
Billy Frampton, the difference.
How do you feel about Ash Johnson? I'd like to get your thoughts on him because he's whenever I look at him, he looks like such a maybe guy. Like he's so close to taking the big grabs. He always gets the hands on it, but just never brings it in.
See, I'm a big fan of Johnson. Just I love Johnson. But I also recognize the fact that, I do. I lost track now. Like Johnson, but he's very much he goes missing a lot when he's not unless he's marking and stuff like that. He's invisible. And I felt like for him to really make a mark on at an AFL level,
I'll be right back.
He really needs to just be able to impact when he's not marking and then kicking goals.
Yeah. That's why Myercheck's so good, right? Because he's just he's so contested. He impacts every contest that he gets to, even if he doesn't win the ball. He takes people out. He's one of my favorite players in the league because I feel like he always bats above his size.
He's absolutely
and competes. Yeah. That's why you just gotta respect him, I reckon.
Yeah.
But I feel like
strange goals.
Yeah. I feel like Johnson could get a little bit more of that about him if he's going to play as a tall forward.
Yeah, and I feel like Johnson, he just I don't know. I'm struggling to see. I like Johnson as well.
Yeah,
he has noticed, but I still wonder whether he has a spot at NFL. And I'm not sure if he's out of contract this year. I'm pretty sure. And unless he really shows something, I think he doesn't get another contract.
He's from WA, right?
I'm not sure.
Oh, South Australia? I thought
I'm sure he got drafted out of Sandford.
He did, but I think he is from WA though.
Maybe he was WA and then drafted out of Sandford. I think that might.
Yeah, because I kind of had my eye on him for a while, because I always thought I wouldn't mind giving him a lifeline.
He's in WA, Halls Creek.
There you go.
Yeah. I think it'd be worth giving a lifeline to Freo or West Coast if
I don't
it didn't work out.
If he doesn't get like a spot on our list, I would love for him to be picked up elsewhere.
Yeah.
And that's like on a separate side, like the abuse like Johnson copped like last week was like awful. Like he deleted his Instagram because of that.
Yeah,
it's pretty horrible.
Posted a comment on like some like Reddit saying like if your first instinct is to like message a player some awful shit, like you don't really deserve to be an AFL fan, let alone a Collingwood one. And like in an ideal world, they like their memberships find out who they are, and their memberships get taken away, and even like honestly banned from like going to the footy.
Yeah,
I think people would do that. Like you'd have to be pretty like mentally sick, right? Like I don't think they're right in the head. Like, that's why I like that bloke that was streaking at that late game. Like, I immediately kind of felt sorry for him. I was like, I hope they don't just ruin his life by giving him like a 70K like fine that he's paying for the next like 15 years. Like, just ban him from the Oval for the rest of his life. Like, and that's probably enough.
It's crazy though, because he should have known that's the consequences though. Like, I still just, my point is like, I can't believe people still do that.
I guess though, like, you know, people grow up in an environment where, I don't know, like alcohol and stuff. So he's probably had a heap of drinks and stuff like that.
I think they tend to raise GoFundMes and crowdfunding and stuff like that, and people help them pay, which is ridiculous. And enormous waste of money.
A lot of stuff they do it for like some like not political necessary, but like some purpose. They have like a sign or something like that. Sometimes. Like there was a while ago, it was something like it was a vegan someone doing something about that. Killing the field.
Help pay for Darren's GoFundMe for his streaking fee plus the baby shower.
We got a few messages in the chat. We will get to them. But just to tie off the Johnson thing, I got to say, I felt a little bit vindicated. Obviously, I feel bad that he's, copped shit, but I think I predicted pre-season, I was like, Reef McInnes to oust Ash Johnson in that battle. And Reef's going all right, hasn't he? Did he kick 3?
He kicked 2. Oh, like they were both, like he showed something. He like, I said like up to my mates at the footy, like in the second half, he showed more in one half than Johnson had the first 2 games.
Yeah.
And I was with you. Like McInnes, like all preseason, there was a talk like, oh, he was like this one of the standout trainers. And I did think that was something we missed out on, but like not rewarding that. I think it's similar to McRae. I feel like McRae could have given a lot more than Mitchell has been giving us.
Yeah, it's probably time to give McRae some games, like other than sub. Sorry, we'll just acknowledge the chat here. It's hard. Sometimes we get into a good conversation, then we leave the chat a little bit. But going back, Snazzy Shoe says, Don's midfield now the most solid line. If all our players back, then the back line is strong too. Harry Jones and Nick Cox need to show more. Yeah,
points.
I feel like Nick Cox is coming from a long way back. I don't even know what position Nick Cox plays. Like, he was like a wingman when he was the Rising Star candidate. And now he's a backman, I think, if I had to guess.
Sorry, like Brian, so the gun name comes on. Like he did get like knocked out.
Yeah.
Like he came off. It's unlucky, but it's not something you could blame the guy for.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really interesting. Like Mason Wood got like knocked the hell out. Like that looked bad on the ground.
Yeah.
Like apparently it's heard he was like convulsing or something like that. I couldn't see it, but like
far out.
He broke his collarbone as well.
Oh, really?
He got knocked out and he broke his collarbone. It was friendly fire, I think.
As Hot Plastic has said in the chat, comparison to the NFL, he's glad North aren't like the Bears. They don't ruin players just by drafting them and crushing their potential, actually nurture and develop players well. You definitely can see that in the last few years, I reckon, with North. Really developing young players well. It's going to pay dividends too, I think, in a few years.
Did I field Roberts? I was just checking Supercoach scores. I'm like, did I field him?
What are your thoughts on Geelong? Looked so good last night. Got a bit of 2022 class back. Tom Stewart played a stunning game. Should have gotten that mark. Yeah, that mark. Such a almost mark of the year.
Yeah,
I didn't
mark
see
of
that.
the decade.
Yeah, but Geelong. I mean, I'm not going to say 22 levels, but like they look every bit of finals quality team so far.
Yeah.
Like St Kilda are a formidable opponent, admittedly at GMHBA, and then beating the Crows at Adelaide Oval is a tough ask for literally any team. If it was the Brisbane Lions, Collingwood, Carlton, like any of these contenders you had at the start of the season did that, you'd be like, okay, great win. Geelong are just one of those teams that people want to, and I get it, and it's not always illogical because of their age, but like we just keep getting proven wrong other than last year. I still think the midfield lacks a bit of a punch. I mean, there's Dangerfield, who are probably...
He's injured. He got injured a lot the other day.
He did get injured at the end of the game, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, that worries me a little bit because Guthrie is also out. But like the rest of the team like functions so well that even if their midfield's not getting their hands on the footy, like their back line's strong and their forward line is efficient. So again, not a premiership contender, but like I'll be surprised if not in the finals.
Yeah. Shout out to the big Gherkin in the chat as well. Says Bailey thrift shop Luke Jackson Williams.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Speaking of that, Cox transcends positions. I love big Cox and Mason too. Couple going on.
Yeah, well, Tibet Kuek is a thrift shop Harley Reid.
Is that a Freo player?
Yeah. He's like a mid-season draftee.
Yeah, it's like a key forward, I think.
Yeah. Been out with an ACL for a while, I think.
He's out this year.
I mean, Harley Reid is a thrift shop. Nick Dacos can't even play off halfback properly.
Yeah. They didn't even play him in the back line in round one, though.
Yeah, they put him on the. I remember they didn't because they saw in the preseason game he looked pretty bad in the back half.
Yeah, against Adelaide he was good though. He was good against Adelaide in the second preseason game, but he got tagged at quarter time of his first game. Like that's pretty good going. I can't remember who they put. I don't know if it was Willem Drew or maybe Willem Drew went to Kelly. Like
I don't think Kelly actually got tagged. I think I wasn't the game. I think he just stood next to him at a stoppage. I think that's what the tag was.
I don't know. No, I'm pretty sure he got tagged. I think Kelly and Reid had 8 touches at quarter time, and both of them got tagged. And Harley Reid started playing deep forward, which I can only assume is Simpson just like trying to get him out of the firing line. Get away from the ball. Play deep forward.
TB Baldo says Papley's on 88 fantasy points.
Is he really? How many goals he kicked?
Kicked 2.
Yeah, wow.
Shit. 9 marks, 15 touches.
90 super coach.
Wow.
Yeah, he's also had 9 marks and 15 of his disposals have been kicks. Yeah, that's impressive.
Isaac Heaney, 75 fantasy.
Gresham's going well too.
Goulden, 51.
Roberts, 43. He's on my bench.
Got him on field.
Who's that? Roberts.
I got him on field, yeah, Roberts.
Good call.
I put him there over Sanders.
Yeah. Oh, shit. I forgot about the potential subbing.
Supposed to be the potential dominant.
In my head, I was trying to work out a joke, and I was like, I can't be fucked. He's asking if I'm nervous for the Giants game. No, I'm not nervous. Not nervous. I feel like you get nervous when you have expectations and don't have expectations. Yeah, obviously, like, I don't want a horrific result. I'm kind of just hoping GWS don't try that hard. Half time.
GWS feel bad.
I was tempted to withdraw Toby Green from my draft team because I do remember I think it was the Eagles game last year. Like he looked like he wasn't even trying, like at all.
I thought he kicked 4 on us last year.
I don't think so. Hey, Or maybe it was the year before.
I could be wrong, but I have it in my head that he kicked 4, played well, but we still won. I could be wrong. I can get it up.
I was having a look and I just came across GWS 162, Essendon 36, round 23. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Worst performance of the season? Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah, worst non-Eagles performance.
It's his own category. Yeah, Toby had 4 goals and 18 possessions.
Okay, there you go. Maybe it was the year before.
It was Jake Waterman-like.
Is Waterman injured?
Nah, he's in the team.
I like him.
Too bad.
Yeah, he's all right. I don't mind him at all. I hope Hogan has a bag. Also a Heist fan.
I hope he doesn't. I don't own him, so I rather he didn't.
Yeah. Dale Goodman says, do Collingwood lose to Brisbane? I'll go with you, Ray.
Yes.
You know, I don't know if it's a foregone conclusion, though.
No.
I'm going to tip Brisbane.
Yeah,
but
same.
Because of the Gabba as well, Brisbane do play Collingwood well generally. They've got a good record against Collingwood other than the grand final. Even then, they played well. But I still could obviously see Collingwood.
2019.
What was that?
Last time we beat them there was 2019.
Okay, yeah.
I'll be tipping Pies, I reckon.
Would ya?
Really?
Yeah. At the moment, yeah.
To have both the reigning premiers start the season 0-3.
Amazing.
I just think that I think Brisbane, honestly, the 2 games I watched from Brisbane have really not done much for me.
Yeah.
And you guys were kind of in your games for stretches.
Mm.
Yeah, so I feel like you're actually performing at a higher level.
Yeah, we're just really struggling with like turnovers in particular. Ball use.
Yeah. Your ball use out of the back half is like.
I almost think we need a slot, but Pendlebury
push
on Nick
Daicos back.
Yeah, or Pendlebury even.
Yeah, Pendlebury's probably a good shout because he's like it kind of takes the pressure off him, like doing too much in the midfield.
Like rotate the 2 of them, just sort of through there.
Yeah.
Looking at like who I think could come in next week, I'm thinking I'll probably John Noble as an option to come in a halfback for say Mark who got subbed out the last game.
Yeah.
Then like you probably like your 2 midfielders that I think they could be liable if they're getting dropped on form. Probably other than the runs they make they have is Sidebottom and Tom Mitchell.
Yeah.
With them, like I could see like an Ed Allen getting a debut potentially on the wing.
How's he going in the VFL?
They had played the first game. He played pretty well actually. He got like 24 touches, something like that.
Mm.
So
the only way
SCP players got played like 30 touches, and I think he could definitely come in.
The only way Mitchell can impact games is by getting like heaps of the ball and clearances, right? Like if he doesn't get heaps of the ball, he just does. And if he's not getting ball clearances, there's no point really.
It's not even like there's heaps of the ball. It's just necessarily like important like in and out clearance like handballs to like you to go to Nick Daicos, and he's not really getting that at the moment. So yeah.
Probably not a bad thing to make a selection statement on a few of the older guys, like especially when, like we say, like it does seem like it's slightly the hunger as well. Like that's probably a good thing to do to kind of put players on notice.
Yeah, just looking at like I was watching the coaches press conference afterwards. Like I've watched the last few games, and like McRae has been like very much. All about the processes. We'll learn from this. We'll get better. But like his press conference against the Saints, he looked like pissed, like he was not happy, like at all. And so I definitely feel like that could like translate to a bit of a hammer being thrown down at the selection table.
We really have never seen him like under pressure, have we, McRae?
No.
Really?
No, it's all been happy days up until round 1 or opening round.
I have complete utter faith in McRae.
What was that, sorry?
I have complete utter faith in McRae.
Yeah.
It's really hard not to.
He's awesome. Hey,
Not even just like because of the wins in the Premiership, like just like the way he speaks is just like
yeah, the way he goes about it is awesome. Hey,
he's also just so like lovable, I guess. Like he's
Mm.
I always struggle to find someone actually who would like dislike McRae as like a aside from being associated with Collingwood.
Yeah. G'day, Mike Stevo. As a Dons fan, that'd be an ideal result. I presume he means the Bombers win. Yeah, they've hung in really well in this fight. It's a really good game.
Yeah, they have. The Bombers lost last week, right?
No, they beat Hawks.
Oh, they beat Hawks. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Way Hawks could be an easy kill at the moment.
I believe Hawks. I didn't watch the game, but from what I heard, it was similar to this week in that they actually showed a bit at the contest, but they just couldn't convert anything or couldn't turn anything into like good scoring opportunities.
Yeah, some of the teams.
Watson, I think he
They
kicked 0
won-
goals
they won
3 last
the
week,
Bulldogs.
1 goal 3 today. So he's got 1 goal 6. He's had 7 shots at goal in 2 weeks. That's not bad.
They did get like pumped in the clearances, Hawthorn against Melbourne.
Mm.
They won overall disposals, but yeah, got like 35 to 23 clearances Melbourne's way. The Dons going to the year were like a very much hard team to pick exactly where they'll finish.
I think
I had them with Gold Coast and Freo, sort of around similar range.
Yeah. Like I feel like I'm an hour between like some days I feel like bottom like top of bottom 4 is a possibility. And like other like coming to the season I'm more thinking it's more likely just like around that like 6 to like 13th, 14th mark. Is there like the kind of low range?
I think they got some weaknesses in the lineup. Yeah, I think they got a few weaknesses. I think losing Zerk Thatcher was a bit of a blow. So they put a lot of development into him.
Yeah.
And having their other key back who get injured immediately, Zach Reid.
Yeah, it's frustrating. They're like Ridley's. There's a few players in the league. Who like this preseason trained for the desired role and then there was another injury and meant they had to go back. I thought of 3 examples. Ridley is one of them. Bailey Williams from West Coast and maybe Luke Jackson. You could say is another one with Sean Darcy going down, but I feel like there's more.
Yeah.
I actually like Essendon's best 22. For me, it's just trust. Like the way they ended the year last year impacted my ladder prediction this year.
Yeah.
Because, on their best day last year, they beat Melbourne like fairly convincingly, like 5 goals, I want to say, in gather round. Put up some good performances. It just, the sort of arse fell out of them in the last 2 months. Like, nearly lost to West Coast, nearly lost to North, like close games. And then the GWS result, the Collingwood final round performance, they lost by 70 points. It's just like... That's just the trust. So I don't think like their best 22 should finish higher than where they did last year. So I can see them improving, but
going back a bit, like you look at like Anzac Day as well. Like they were like 25, I think, points up 3/4 time. Something I can't remember exactly.
Oh right, yeah. Shit.
I can't actually. I might be completely wrong, but like even then, there was a bit of like that lack of like trust for them to finish the job.
I feel like they've always kind of relied on like guys like Stringer a little bit too much, who you just can't. It's just so hard to know. Like on his day is like, top like 10, top 20 player in the league. But just has those off days as well.
This is what I like about their forward line though. Like, if they go with Wright, Langford, and Stringer, then while none of them are necessarily A graders, like at least there's 3 different ways they can hurt you that are not like they're not one dimensional.
Yeah.
I really like Peter Wright. I don't think he gets that much recognition, but I think I would be happy to have him at West Coast, which is not saying a lot, but
Yeah, they were 28 points ahead at 3/4 time.
Wow.
I love Parrish. I'm a huge Parrish fan.
He's out at the moment. Hey, he's injured.
Yeah, he was going to play today, but they withdrew him.
Is that what it was? Yeah.
Yeah. So, big hit.
So-
Good grab.
Donald.
They do have some midfield talent. Oh, is that a mark?
Yeah, that's a great
Yeah.
mark.
I thought he might have got a hand on it, but maybe not. Just looking at Essendon's starting midfield here. So they got Caldwell named in the guts. Setterfield and Draper. Setterfield and Merritt were the other named on ballers. Hobbs, Sardis, those types.
It doesn't like, I don't mind it, but still, like I stack that up against North, like LDU, Simpkin, Wardlaw, like stack it up against Freo, Brayshaw, Sarong, stack it up against Gold Coast, like Anderson. I feel like the teams they're around, I think their midfields are better, personally.
I mean, I think Simpkin's been off his best for a while now.
Well, yeah, I mean, okay, you don't even have to include him, just LDU.
No,
Wardlaw.
we're holding you to that.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know. I'm bigger on it. I think Essendon's isn't too bad. Like, it's Merritt and Parrish are the first two. I think Setterfield, Perkins.
What do you call chill with the spam?
I think they're all right. For me, it's not a talent issue.
Cheers. Do I see?
So if it's not a talent issue, what's going wrong at the moment, do you think?
I think it's mentality of the group, which is hard to really analyze from the outside. But I just think, like, we just pointed to a few examples where they inexplicably were terrible. Being 5 goals up against Collingwood, I mean, that's harsh to say terrible, but that shows what they can do versus their actual results. With a huge gap between where they were early in the season to the way they finished the season, to me, that indicates like mental fatigue or something.
This Essendon side is all the last few years has been that like one half the season great, one half the season terrible. They've kind of done that a fair amount the last few years.
I reckon you could almost make the case they've done that for 10 years, more than 10 years. Like, a completely different era. But, like, admittedly, this was, like, during the doping thing. But, like, I reckon, like, 2012, like, Joe Watson was unreal. Heppel was the breakout star of the competition. I think, like, 8 rounds in, West Coast and Essendon were clearly the two best teams in the comp that year.
Yeah.
And then Essendon, like, faded badly. And I feel like that was a thing that they did pretty much every year.
Yeah.
Then the doping scandal happened. They missed an entire year. It's hard to come back from that, but I think that trend has continued. And to be fair to them, like, yeah, this game is only halfway through, but they're playing well.
They are.
Oh, come on, take those, Grundy. Rats.
Rats. I love it.
I do say that.
It's contagious. It's really contagious. I used to get people at Bunnings to say it without even trying. Even a girl here, like when I first moved here, I was sort of seeing this girl, and she used to like be like, "Why do you say that?" And then like within a month, she was saying, rats. I was like, suck in. Teach her to break my heart. Nah, just kidding, guys. Fuck, what was I saying before that?
No edging sessions going on.
Oh, another goal. Peter Wright.
Yeah, the old ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, I think I knew where I was going with that. Snazzy Shoe says, could you say it's a defeatist attitude? It certainly was that cost me that relationship. I think it is. And I do think actually like that's arguably the biggest problem at West Coast, to be honest.
It's such a hard thing to get. It's such a hard thing to get out of, right? when teams get into that like, into that defeatist attitude, you can see it sticks for a long time.
Yeah.
And,
like player to player, it becomes contagious.
it's a big reason why West Coast need to actually keep like Gaff, in my opinion.
You
would say that
agree with you. I agree generally that we don't drop all our senior players, but I do think Gaff has well and truly earned his dropping.
Yeah, I did. I sort of, more specifically meant like, or generally meant.
Generally,
That's why you don't just get rid of all your senior players, because
that's
if you
why
bottom out too hard, it's gonna, like, the teams that bottom out really hard, like a rebuild for 10 years.
Yeah. I think you're like, again, not to make this a West Coast thing, but it does work into this idea of like mentality, right? So the Eagles played well first 2 rounds last year, beat GWS, played well in the Derby, copped 7 injuries. The weeks after that, where we like had a depleted list, we still lost those games by like 50 points, but I remember like we were in them for 3 quarters, fell away. Like we were okay. We weren't a joke. Then we lose to Carlton by 100 points. Then we lose to Hawthorn by 100 points. And you could argue like the team didn't get any worse on paper. And yet we started putting in way worse results against way worse teams because their heads just dropped.
It just stacks up.
Really came back. Yeah. I mean, look at the Derby, like end of the year. The Eagles
get to the first one.
But the week after that 100-point loss in the Derby, which was one of the most pathetic performances the Eagles have ever displayed. A week later, we rolled the Bulldogs. Jamie Cripps kicks 5. We were the better team all day. Like, it just goes to show like how much like the mental side of it is key in football generally, but also for West Coast.
That could have saved Simo his job potentially that game.
It probably did, to be honest.
Not that I think wins. Well, like wins and losses, it's probably not like.
It's more.
I think it's about more than that.
Like how they look and how they. With results aside, it's how like they go about it.
Yeah,
I think like the West Coast board is not like stupid enough to think, if we put another coach in, we're going to have another 4 wins. This season. I think they just know like the reality of where the list is at.
Yeah.
And there is no point in flipping someone just to bring in a new coach who then gets thumped.
One thing I'll say as well is like I've been fairly, positive on the Eagles and I'm not willing to necessarily like trash us until things get bad this year. It's like at least wait till we get slaughtered. But one thing that does make me a little nervous is the tough fixture we have to the start of the year. Like the Port game didn't go terribly, in my opinion, compared to what could have happened.
Yeah.
GWS, Bulldogs in Marvel, Sydney, and then I think we got Richmond and then another 2 tough games. And I'm worried, like, what happens if those games go really badly? Can we recover from that? Like, I kind of wish we had a few more evenly rated games where we could at least show we've got a bit about us, just to set us up mentally for the year.
Yeah.
I'm nervous about that, I won't lie.
I can understand that.
Especially if we lose 2 plays a week, as is already started, but fingers crossed.
I think if you could somehow snag like a victory in like the first 5 or 6 rounds, like it'd be huge.
Yeah. It does seem like a long shot. Like our best chance is Richmond at home, and on current form, I would be tipping Richmond at Optus.
Never trust a ruckman.
Yeah.
What I'll say.
Taj Thorne says, does Draper have the worst ball skills in the league? Giggity.
Didn't he just kick like a really good goal, like at the end of the first half?
Yeah. Kicked goal of the year last year.
Have you been seeing side bottom this last few weeks, man?
What was that?
Have you seen side bottom these last few weeks?
True.
Ooh.
Dale Goodman says, if West Coast finished second to bottom, Simpson would have got sacked because they wouldn't get Harley Reid. No, I don't know about that. To be honest, I think what saved him is the contract.
As much as like North would like obviously like Hollywood, I think they'd be pretty content with having Desmond McGurcher.
For sure.
I don't know if the contracting is necessarily true because you don't pay out a coach for their full remaining contract, right? In fact,
You're obligated to.
no, I believe that's why Justin Longmuir signed a new contract, because if he would have been sacked, he would have been paid out for 6 months.
Right.
So the previous coaching contracts were they received like a 6-month payout. Brett Ratton only got 6 months pay.
Yeah. So what I would guess, I
having
honestly
2
think,
years remaining.
I think it honestly depends on how the contract is written. I wouldn't say that's necessarily an AFL rule. My guess is that contracts might have protections in there for clubs, for coaches.
I honestly think it comes back to the fact that, personally, I think if they think another coach would have done better, they would have sacked Simpson, personally. I think Simpson is the best man for the job. He's won a flag. Like, he's proven that he's an elite coach. And tactically, he's proven he's an elite coach because he's introduced systems that have made West Coast the best team in 2018. So I just don't think there's a better coach out there, personally. I think if someone was obviously sticking there, like ready to go, like, I reckon would have been good by Simo.
Yeah, I generally agree. Like, I think the biggest revealing thing for me is when we saw that he wasn't getting sacked, my innate reaction was relief. That kind of just told me how I felt about it without even really knowing. That being said, we obviously have to accept there is a point at which you have to say no. And we flirted with that line. In fact, we probably did cross that line. Like, after the Sydney performance, after the Dockers performance, if he was out of contract that year, regardless of payouts, like if it was a contract year, he probably was gone. And that is a nice goal to Goulden.
I always think of with Simpson, it's like that also like ties with the players and like how they would feel. Just in terms of like, you think if he does get sacked, that almost puts in the players like, oh, we were that bad, we got our coach sacked. That makes you feel
true. And that's probably, why the Eagles came out and won the next week.
You can understand as well, like, players go to war for you, like, when you're a coach, right? Like, I remember this with Freo and Ballantyne, because Ballantyne's last, 2 years were very average. But I think I saw it on a podcast. It was like Ballantyne played for Ross 3 or 4 times when he had a broken jaw.
Wow.
And those players, go to war for you, as a coach, and it doesn't get out in the public domain, what the players are putting on the line, to win games. So then when it comes to the back end of those players' careers, guys like Gaff, and how much they've put into the club and all that, I can understand it would be very, very hard to then just ruthlessly say, nah, you're gone, mate.
Yeah.
Which doesn't mean you shouldn't be ruthless, but I'm more just pointing out the fact I can understand why it'd be very difficult.
Yeah. I really like that we are loyal. And, both somewhat with selection, obviously, that you got to drop players like Gaff. But I really like that the Eagles don't have a torrid history of getting coaches in for 3 years and then passing them off.
It's a cultural thing.
Do that are always the clubs that don't move up the ladder that much, right?
Yeah. It's a cultural thing as well.
Carlton for the 2000s.
What's that, sorry?
Carlton for the 2000s and 2010s.
Yeah. The thing as well that you may or may not factor in is it makes it harder to attract coaches as well. But if you can point to a demonstrated history of saying, the Eagles haven't sacked a coach since Ken Judge because Woosha technically walked away. So, if we were trying to get a Hardwick or a Clarkson in some crazy alternate universe, they would probably feel a lot better about potentially coming over.
Yeah, I agree.
You compare to say as an example, the Carlton, they were sacking coaches left, right, and center. As a coach, you're thinking, why would I go there when if these players are going to perform as well as they want me to? Their expectations of what I should be doing. Why would I go there if they're just going to get rid of me in a year?
And as a player too, right? Every time coaches come in, new players get added to different positions. Why would you leave your current club if you're a starting player to go to a club where coaches come and go and there's positional changes and there's turmoil. Like you're kind of putting your own career
every year.
risk. Yeah.
True.
What do you think about Buckley, Rogue?
I thought I was very much like a Buckley defender.
Yeah.
I was very because I think a lot of it was tied sentimentally to wanting him to get that flag that he missed as a player.
Yeah.
But I think like eventually when it came down to like him leaving, obviously like it was kind of like he stepped down himself, but it was kind of a bit of like an understanding. Where like
he was definitely going if he didn't step down, right?
Yeah. But like I definitely felt like a lot better about like how he went out just because we beat Melbourne when he got Remember the press conference? It was him and his sons, whatever. And just like it was definitely a bit of like a walking off into the sunset kind of moment.
Yeah.
And I think definitely like getting McRae as like next coach, definitely like.
In hindsight, like you'd be crazy to say it was like a negative thing, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Now, tie it back to like 2018. Like if losing 2018 means we win 2023, I'm taking that every day of the week.
Yeah. The thing is about 2018 as well, like you guys were so close. Like it wasn't coaching. There was no coaching decision that won or lost that game, right? Like really.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of out of your control stuff. So he was like this close to being like a premiership coach.
The last Collingwood coach sacked. I think the last Collingwood coach that was like sacked, I think it might have been Tony Shaw.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because like Malthouse was like there was the whole transition thing with Buckley, so he didn't technically get sacked. It wasn't like might as well have been really. And those were like full on like you're sacked, you're fired, get out of here. It was probably Tony Shaw back in like 1990 something, which I wasn't even alive for.
Yeah. Sorry, I just acknowledge a few people in the chat here. Bomber Hill says, "Hey lads, how are we? Good, mate. How are you?"
Good, thanks, mate.
Dale Goodman says St Kilda sacked a lot of coaches. That's true. Yeah, I was thinking like with St Kilda trying to go for the names are escaping me, but we know they went for De Goey. That's probably a potential example of like, potentially their checkered history with coaches. Maybe checkered history is a bit harsh, but you know what I mean. I think I
remember saying with De Goey, like a big reason why he stayed was because of McRae and what he was kind of like. If he didn't like the next coach, if he might have definitely left. De Goey.
What was that? End of 22 or end of 21? De Goey.
End of 21.
When he signed the contract to stay, or that he just didn't go to St Kilda 21?
He just 2021, yeah.
Fuck, what a good call.
Yeah.
Dale Goodman says, I heard Crows are looking at Nathan Buckley as an assistant. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure how he goes. Coach.
I really like Buckley in the media.
Yeah, me too. I rate him. I could not see him as an assistant coach, so he doesn't really strike me as he kind of strikes me as a leader.
Yeah.
What I like about Buckley in the media especially is as someone who is like he understands like the pressure that you get, and someone who's under a lot of pressure. I think he's a lot more compassionate to like people who are like under pressure, and like he doesn't like go in as people as much. Like it's sort of him defending like Longmire.
Yeah, he went into bat massively for Longmire this week.
Which makes sense because he was an assistant coach at Collingwood back in 2018.
Yeah.
I still remember that it was at the Copeland, where that year where he left Longmire and Maynard got like a speech and was like said something about to Longmire, like called him a dog for leaving.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
Did he leave for the senior coaching job at Fremantle? It wasn't like he went assistant at Fremantle. Yeah, it was the senior coach. Yeah.
He said it was. I watched a podcast on it, and because obviously he was at West Coast for ages, and then he went to Collingwood, and I think it was like his second year at Collingwood, they made the granny and they were playing West Coast.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he said he was like a little bit.
He was a big like tactical like reason why we especially our defense, how good defensively we were.
Yeah, he was like your team defense coach, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And at the Eagles, he was the forward line coach. So he like developed like, I think Lacroix and like Kennedy and worked like with, and Darling, like worked with all of those guys.
Suddenly I don't like him anymore.
Yeah.
I need to watch that Longmuir podcast on Backchat because they ask him, there's that footage of Buckley in the coaching boxes, Dom Shee's lining up.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
And he says, like, is he going to kick this Longy? And then it cuts out Longmuir. Do you know what Longmuir said, Joycey?
Yeah, he said yes.
Did he?
Yeah.
Shit.
But he does admit it wasn't like it necessarily like a thing on Shee. It was like, what else do you say in that moment? Like, of course he's going to like plan for him to kick it. I think is what he was kind of meaning. Like, because they said they kind of joked about it and they're like, yeah, Sheed is not a good kick.
Yeah.
Even like Schofield was joking.
Yeah.
About that. But yeah, it's kind of interesting.
He's actually not a bad shot for goal now. I think about it, though. Generally speaking,
I swear I saw Schofield like was saying something about like having to go. It was like not even Chess or something like that for coming on for shit.
Yeah, Chess he was saying should stay in the waffle.
Yeah, and I felt like that was a bit of. At least I thought it was a bit of like him kind of defending his mates a bit more. It's like
I think it was more just like kind of saying there's actually nothing wrong with just developing a player in the waffle. Like he's not going to get anything by just getting smashed in the AFL. He said like give him a year in the waffle and he'll probably be like one of the best waffle players, and then he'll be coming into the senior side with like 100% confidence like in his body that he could like play against men and like I don't know, and that he's a good player. So I kind of understand it.
Yeah, I think it's a player-by-player thing. Some players are just ready for AFL level, like Harry Sheasel, Nick Dacos. Like, no point playing them in the VFL. Chesser, in particular, is probably a 50-50. He probably could use some time in the waffle. But the waffle side, like last year, was the same as the Eagles AFL side in terms of how many players we had, because obviously it's all linked, right? And so the waffle side was putrid. And so him playing waffle was actually not very helpful. But hopefully this year, like, we have that luxury.
I guess it's also the fact that
the support you have around you in like a particular team.
Yeah.
And it's also the fact that in the waffle side, he could play literally like 90% of a game, like on the ball. Whereas he can't do that. But yeah, I do agree with you.
Yeah. I think play Chesser this week and then, let form dictate after that. If he's earning his spot in the AFL side.
The Swans gone on a little run here.
Yeah.
No, this is completely unrelated to anything we're talking about. But I just thought this was interesting. But like I was getting a haircut a couple weeks ago. And I was at the barbershop I was going to. I was looking at like just their Instagram, whatever, just going over all the photos and stuff like that, just to see if it was worth going. And I saw Harley Reid go because it was in Oakley. And Harley Reid was like the had a couple of haircuts there. I was like, oh, I'm sold. I'm somewhere
Surprised he even gets a haircut. He looks like he hasn't had one in like 2 years.
I mean, he gets like an undercut on the sides.
And he gets like lines or something, lines of that or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does strike me as like a speed stripe kind of guy. Like back in the day.
He's dating Yasmin Dersma. Is that her name?
I'm guessing that's Xavier's sister.
Yeah, there's 4 Dersmas. Xavier Zane Willem, I think, is another one that hasn't been drafted, but might be drafted this year. I'm not sure. I can't remember actually. And Yasmin.
How much weed do you reckon their parents smoke?
What's that?
I said, how much weed do you reckon their parents smoke with names like those?
I think they're just Dutch.
Oh, fair enough.
So, to be fair, probably a fair bit.
Yeah, that's right.
Isn't so much better than like what that guy Shadow Brain, or like Brian Myers' family is like really weird names.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brian Myers. Man, he's a gun.
Greg and Brian.
Some would say he's like the Lionel Messi of the AFL.
Yeah. That was such a good troll.
Yeah,
Jared
well,
Waitley was like
it's pretty funny how upset he got about it.
This is
dude,
fake news.
Yeah, I demand whoever posted this to take it down.
It was definitely like the Streisand effect where he just brought more attention to it.
Yeah.
Like he didn't say anything.
It was such a good subtle troll though, like such a unique, fake, almost believable thing that people were like, "What?" Oh, that was funny. Actually, that reminds me. Me and Joycey were messing with Busher once. We do this every now and then. We just sort of like randomly
better than I forget his name.
Tabernar, better than Pav.
Oh yeah,
better than Pav. Yeah.
But this one was like, I want to say 2017, and Joycey, I can't remember if you did the fake tweet website or if you just wrote
That's
it. You're like,
right.
oh my God, Michelle Cowan has been announced as Ross Lyon's successor. And then I made some fake tweets from Michael Walters, and I was like, this is fucking bullshit. I'm leaving.
No, it was Nathan Wilson.
Nathan Wilson, was it? Sorry, yeah.
I mean, I can kind of see that from Nathan Wilson, to be honest.
Yeah. I think that's why. Like he tried to pick someone.
That kind of guy who would say that.
We made this like fake mutiny at Fremantle, and Bush was like, "This is fun."
Ben Cousins will come on as assistant coach. I think you put as well.
Yeah, culture coach.
Yeah.
Head of culture.
Community
I think
engagement.
youth development
Yeah.
was.
Fuck.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I found
he-
a like fake
He
tweet.
was so
somewhere.
ropeable.
Yeah. This is horse shit. I think that was what I said. Nathan Wilson said, "This is horse shit."
Oh my God. Also, I'm just bringing connections that I have with your guys' players. Hayden Young. His mum was my high school maths and sports teacher.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
And I had no idea that was a connection to. I was watching the draft, Hayden Young's draft, and then I had like his parents who he interviewed, and I looked up and I saw my math teacher. I was like, wait, hang on a second.
Yeah.
What the hell?
That's wild. I played cricket with with Connor Blakely's older brother. That's my claim to fame.
Wow.
Basically famous.
You should put that in your podcast bio.
Yeah. I did play cricket with Sam Whiteman from Perth Scorchers. That is probably the most legitimate one I have. But not a lot of athletes come out of Bunbury. Like historically, we've had a few, like Adam Hunter.
A lot of cokeheads.
Yeah, true. Adam Hunter. Lewis Jetter's kind of from Bunbury, like sort of. I think he's moved around a lot, but
I think he lives there now.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of
saw
Jetters
him.
in Bunbury, so like, there's obviously some family connection. But he's like from Bridgetown too, right? Like, I'm not.
Yeah, he played for Bridgetown.
Yeah.
Played for the footy team.
Oh,
But
Jamie
yeah, I think he
Binnell
was.
as well. He went to my school.
And who was Ugle that played for Collingwood?
Kirk.
Someone Ugle? Yes.
Yeah, he played at my cricket club actually.
Never heard of that guy in my life.
Really?
No.
I don't think he might have played.
That
he might
long
have played a
ago.
few games.
He did. He played a few.
Yeah.
When was this?
Kirk would be a year older than us, so 2010 draft, rookie draft, probably. I guess.
But, yeah,
I think he was
probably like 2017.
Yeah.
He was drafted. He was kind of cool actually because I think he was drafted straight from the Southwest Football League, which is very rare, obviously. Jamie Binnell was a pretty decent player, to be fair. Like he wasn't bad, especially at Melbourne. He had some very good games at Melbourne. There was actually who was the Melbourne? Was it Kickett? No.
Oh,
good Melbourne player from Bunbury. Yeah.
Neville Jeter. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he had a long career. Yeah, he's a good
Yeah,
player.
he was
Jeter
good.
from Bunbury and Neville Jeter being from there. Who'd have thought?
Well, I think there's a lot of Jetters around different teams actually.
Yeah, it was, I don't know. Love Nuudero. Plays for a VFL team at the moment.
Oh, there you go. The Southwest is starting to produce a few more footballers. Like if you include like Dunsborough and Busso, then you've got Jai Amos, Ruben Jinby.
There's been a few good ones from down here.
Yeah. Clay Hall, right?
He's from Harvey.
Is he?
Yeah.
And Hoff as well. So it's starting to get a little bit better. But then you look at like Northampton and the football they've produced compared to a big city like second biggest city, Bunbury. It's crazy, the disparity.
I think Ben Stratton was from Yellingup.
Oh, okay. Essendon midfielder.
Remus.
True, him too, but Ben Howlett.
Yep. Donnybrook.
There you go. In my mind, that's still kind of all the same thing, but yes, you're right.
Yeah. Didn't his brother play? His brother was on a list, right?
I want to agree with you, but I can't remember any of the details. That does sound right, but I can't remember who it was.
I think they both played for Peel. When Ben Howlett was actually like decent for a couple of years, to be fair.
Dale Goodman used to kick the ball across the road from his house with Michael Frederick. Was that in South Australia? Is he drafted as SA? Frederick? Swans.
Yes.
Late goals, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll see. I'll check that.
I used to hit the footy with Sandwellens quite a few times. Yeah.
It's actually
his parents live next door to my grandma.
Actually, Joel Smith was my coach dealer, actually.
Oh, nice.
Sorry,
he's the guy that gave the drugs to your dealer.
Yeah. For legal purposes, that was a joke.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like half. I'm not obviously don't really care that much about Joel Smith, and it's a big thing. So I'm not like don't dislike him, but like his dad was piped up a lot back around like the Brayshaw incident, and he's pretty quiet about it now.
Piped up about, as in what? The Gaff Brayshaw thing, or
no, the Maynard.
Oh,
the
Brayshaw.
Brayshaw.
What did he say?
Oh, it's just someone I can't remember details, but he was going in about like Maynard
culture
basically.
Or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bit rich maybe.
Yeah. This is when I'm looking at like players' dads. Like my favorite comparison I could see is Stephen Silvani. Just like watching his Jack Silvani play, and he's the most dead eyed fan watching. Like he just doesn't care, he doesn't clap at all. He didn't want to go in the rooms or anything like that. And then it was like the same game. It was like Peter Dacos. He's going crazy. He's like banging seats.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like when footballers' dads go and mums go like large on social media about their sons.
Pretty funny.
Scott West used to do that for Riley West. He went on a tirade being like, "It's bullshit. He's not being selected. The coach is a joke." I feel like there was an Eagles one as well. I'm trying to remember who it was.
Ginnivan's dad's like that.
Was he?
Yeah, he's like going off against Collingwood. I think afterwards, saying like, "Oh, I'm glad because he's a Hawks." Because Gideon was a Hawks fan growing up, so I'm assuming his dad's also a Hawks fan. So he's kind of like, "Oh, glad he's at the right club now."
Yeah.
How do you feel about Ginny leaving? I rate him.
I'm like 50-50 on him because like at the same time, like he's definitely like a player that could be like a really good player. But like the reason why like I think he left is
the cultural behavior stuff.
Yeah, it's not even that. It's just like we got Schultz in, and that kind of like really made it really difficult for Gideon to like have like a confident spot in that side.
Yeah.
Like he really worked to get back into the side like early to the last year, And I just think there's a lot of like him not wanting to do that again.
Yeah,
So
fair
I
enough.
question is like his work ethic, I guess.
I suppose come to Hawks and like you got a guaranteed spot in the team every game for the year.
Yeah.
TB
But
Bordeaux
I'm not
is,
convinced that Schultz is better than Ginnivan. And I like Schultz.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
as someone who's like, Gideon's like 2022 year was great, but like I think he did end up getting a bit found out later on when he wasn't getting so much freeze. And I'm not saying this because like, he doesn't play for us anymore, so fuck him. But he was definitely
also,
he didn't
how young is he?
perform. He's young. He's like 20, 21, 20 something like that. 20. And I just think he's definitely got a lot of room for improvement.
Yeah.
But I think definitely right now Schultz is the better player. Maybe you can really question that, but I think Ginnivan it's a lot of like he has the talent there. It's whether he really harnesses it.
Yeah.
And like going to like late last year when he like in the grand final, he was probably the worst on for us.
Yeah.
And I'm including Billy Frampton in that.
Yeah.
In spite, I will stand by that Billy Frampton was good for the first like half.
Yeah.
Before
But didn't
in his role,
Frampton kind of shut down Harris Andrews a lot, didn't he?
Yeah,
I've heard, he was
Harris
playing
Andrews,
like defensive role.
Yeah, he did. Harris Andrews definitely got off the chain in the second half, but he was like probably, if not Pendlebury, like the best player in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
so every time the ball came near Frampton and Harris Andrews, Frampton was given away a free kick or getting outmarked in the fourth quarter.
He's really good, Harris Andrews. He's really good.
Billy Frampton actually had a pretty good game the other night. Was a second key back behind Moore.
Papley's on 114. TB Baldo.
Wow.
Auto. That's not bad for the 3/4 time.
Wow.
Hawthorn looking at Josh Battle, says Dale. That would be a good recruit for them. He's a free agent this year.
I thought he played well the other night. He did a few really good tackles, I noticed.
I mean, I don't know if he's still technically the sort of key back that Hawthorn need. But, I wouldn't complain.
They just need anything really to just free up Sicily.
Yeah.
I feel like he leaves
in
Kilda now, though, I guess. Like, he's getting a spot in the side.
Like, if any player was like key back was to leave, what's it called? St Kilda, it'd probably more likely be I forget his name. St Kilda list.
Webster?
No, I'm blank on his name right now. Just give me 2 secs.
Sydney kicking away here. 29 points the margin. Essendon well on top and clear.
He's got a Dougal Howard. That's it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think he should probably be a target. There's always a merry-go-round of like key position players, rucks and key backs. I feel like Howard might be one of those this year.
I'd be interested in Howard for the players if he was cheap enough.
He would be probably good pickup for you guys, I'd say.
Like in terms of like targets for end of season, we're thinking the key forwards for us, like which probably isn't likely with no first round draft pick.
Yeah.
And then Bailey Smith's probably one that it could depend on how much he's really worth in terms of the AFL, what competition wide.
I don't know how Collingwood would get that done.
No, I feel like this Bailey Smith. What they Collingwood would argue for him, Smith was like he hasn't been playing his best. He's coming off an ACL.
Yeah,
so it's probably like a second round draft pick is probably what they would argue. Whether Dogs
I can't imagine that gets it done. Hey, I know that it only depends what Bailey Smith chooses, but I can't imagine that would be.
It's definitely hard for us to get anyone.
Even from a cap space perspective, I would imagine it'd be hard for you guys.
I don't think our cap space is that bad actually, because I think Treloar is like off our books at this point.
Yeah.
I think.
But you do also have like Pendlebury, Howe, Hoskin Elliott, and one other side bottom out of contract. So even if they don't necessarily retire, smaller contracts might free up some space.
Sure.
Yeah. The other player that I think I'd be interested in is having a look at as a free agent, which is obviously a lot more feasible with our draft hand, is Cam Zohar.
Yeah.
I think he would bring something a bit different to our forward line as well. Because
I'm keen on Freo having a look at Zohar.
Because our forward half, it's either like we have a lot. It's our smalls, and then you got Myjek and McStay. But obviously, if he's fit, we don't really have that medium-sized mid forward.
Never really rated McStay, hey, personally.
I think it was.
He's just big.
Yeah, I think McStay is someone who's like, I'll really make judgment on him really until he gets like a fair amount of like some games together.
Yeah, that's fair.
But what I saw of him like late last year, he was actually really good. Like late last year, like his finals series before he injured was pretty impressive.
Yeah,
and I think I did see a stat where he was like, out of any forward in the competition, when he was targeted, it resulted in the most like scoreboard, whatever.
Okay, that is pretty good.
He just hasn't had a proper run at it as being that number one option for us. Whereas Brisbane, he was always kind of that number 2 or number 3 option, so he didn't get as much opportunity. But wait and see. Seems to be tracking well with his ACL recovery, so I'm getting slightly more hopeful and confident that he'll be able to return late this year.
Dale Goodman says Saints should go after Bailey Smith. I imagine every club in Melbourne will want Bailey Smith, right?
Yeah, if not just for the player, just for like
commercial.
Yeah, just being the face of the club. They want to get that bond deals.
Yeah,
bond money.
He would suit the Saints, I reckon. Like he's good run and carry. And maybe Saints already have like enough of those players, so I don't know.
Yeah, they think they probably need a bit more speed in their inside midfield.
Yeah.
Because Jack Steele and like even though that Kraus got dropped, like Jack Jones as well, they're pretty not one note necessarily, but they're not exactly the quickest midfield.
Yeah. Jeez, it's hard to see Brad Crouch getting back in after that, isn't it?
Yeah. Definitely a bit of a
crazy. I feel like he's the sort of player West Coast should have a pop at. I'm just scared, man. Please make the losses stop.
just make it end.
Yeah. Just give us some more players.
Give them a priority pick.
Yeah. I don't think that's realistic. I really don't think we'll get one.
At most, probably like a second rounder.
I mean, I'd take it at the moment. I like if is there anything that helps us maybe get a trade in for Liam Baker? Because at the moment, it's hard to see how that would potentially get done. That would help, I guess. I was certainly not going to get a first round pick or anything like that.
Oh my Skyball.
I feel like Baker is one of those players where like he could go really either way at like a not so great club.
Yeah.
Where like if he could either go really lift the team up with him because of how hard he works, or that kind of hard working can get a bit unrewarded. And not look so good.
I feel like he's the sort of player that like looks good in a better side, maybe.
He should thrive at West Coast.
Yeah. In that waffle side, the way they're going.
No, I agree. But I do think he does make a lot of sense for us. I think if you look at West Coast's list, the chasm is between 22 and 27. Like it's dire, and that problem it's an issue now, but like it's going to be more of a problem in like 3 years. So I think anything we can do to pad that out with best 22 quality players, and I'd say that Liam Baker, he's not a star. Well, he wouldn't be a star here, but I think he could make us better.
Yeah. You guys could probably afford to pay him decent as well.
Yeah.
He gets to come home.
We're going to have some money.
Yeah.
What we give up for him is another question. I don't know how we do that because he's probably between our first and second round draft picks in value.
I would not.
Second round.
Probably
I don't know if
second round.
Richmond fans would be happy with that.
30.
I don't know if Richmond fans would be happy with that. Hey,
What's that?
I feel like
Second round.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, even if you have pick 1 of the second round, that was pick 30 this last year, 29.
yeah.
So,
yeah, but like as a like depends what if it's like a first round pick, if it's like a pick that's tied to West Coast or tied to another club, but like a pick you wouldn't give a first round pick that's tied to West Coast for
No chance.
No way.
I think this year would not be a bad year for you to potentially swap, like do some pick swaps.
Yeah.
And just kind of like, I don't know. You got your man Harley, like now, like build out the squad kind of around him a little bit.
Yeah. No, I'm all for that. It just depends on, what's the demand for pick 1 or 2 this year. It won't be what it was last year.
Yeah, it sounds like the top 5 are pretty square at the moment, right? Like there's not much of a gap.
Yeah, like there's probably an order, but it's very narrow, the gap at this current stage, which obviously a lot can change. But, do we do a swap with Richmond if they get, say, pick 6? Do they give us 6 and Baker and then but like something else as well? I'd imagine 6 and Baker on its own is not good enough.
6 and Baker and their third or something like that. Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know how it works really.
Rory Lobb, maybe.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, we do need a key back.
I definitely really like to see the draft this year be a lot more even and have like the number 1 pick necessarily be like a mystery of what's going to be taken.
It's probably similar to 2017, if you remember that draft. That was like Rayner, Brayshaw, Chera, LDU, Dow. Like there wasn't a huge consensus on that 5, other than Rayner probably always going.
Rayner was 1, yeah.
But
I think
you're right.
Obviously, like as you come to draft, there's always going to be like mail about like which club's going to take who.
Yeah,
especially at the number 1 pick. Like just to be like maybe like a couple weeks out to the draft, being like you have no idea who like whoever has the number 1 pick is going to take.
Yeah,
whether that be Freo with Collingwood's pick.
I think I can think of some draft surprises. So McCartan at pick 1 was a bit of a surprise. That story broke like 12
that
hours.
Was like the last one that I could think of that was kind of like that.
In the top 5, though, Will Phillips over Logan McDonald in 2020 was a surprise. Even Brayshaw to Fremantle at 2 specifically was a bit of a surprise. Like, there was a bit of doubt as to whether that would happen. In the end, probably the best pick they could have taken. But it definitely wasn't locked in. Nice one, Merritt.
That 2018 draft as well, like Walsh went 1. But man, that top 7 like is so good. Any of those guys could have gone in hindsight. That would not be a bad.
Yeah, when you look like a player like Ben Keane went like pick 6, I think, or something.
Yeah, Bailey Smith 7, Rosie 5.
Rankin coaches. What was that?
Isaac Quaino, I think, was that draft.
That's not bad.
Yeah, Quaino, Zach Butters was 11. I think Jordan Clark was 14.
Bobby Hill was in that draft, I think, or was he 19?
Yeah, he was in that draft. Like that top 20. Georgiades was like 19. Like it's a really good top 20.
Oh, I love Bobby Hill.
I think Georgiades was a year later, I'm sure.
I think he was that year. I thought 19 or something.
Yeah, I thought he was 29.
I might be wrong.
He was later, yeah. I remember wanting him.
That was a draft Gold Coast gave us 3 picks in the 20s for our first. Or 4
also,
picks
Lucky Schultz's draft.
Oh, yeah.
2018.
Gold Coast traded like four second rounders for our 2018 first, and they won the spoon and we won the flag. So it was literally a 1 pick upgrade. for 4 picks in the 20s. So good. And then ironically, we traded the pick back to them live.
Who else? Connor Iden was 2018.
Oh, nice.
Stocker was 19.
We had some swings and misses in that draft. We got Xavier O'Neill, Luke Foley. We did get Jared Cameron, who I think could have been a good AFL player. He just gave up footy. And Bailey Williams, I'm happy with. That was in the second round. That was a good pick.
Who could forget Collingwood legend Archie Bricenovillagi?
Oh, yeah. He's long gone off North Lite. Like, he's not there anymore. Yeah.
No.
Bailey Scott was
Also,
pick 50. That was a good pick.
Yeah.
Very awkward with Bricenovillagi considering his relationship with a particular Collingwood fan.
I don't know about that.
He's like Joffa. His like great nephew or something like that.
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, you can see the resemblance.
Yeah.
Isn't he like in jail or something?
Yeah.
No,
I think I read some pretty like bad stuff about him.
Yeah, didn't Joffa get...
No, he's a pedophile. He's a pedo.
Yeah.
I hope he rots in hell.
Yeah. Culture.
Yeah. I don't think it was actually... I think he definitely got off like light. Joffa Archer.
Yikes.
Joffa Archer.
Yeah, his R2 wasn't over like his uncle.
Yeah, how old is his great nephew? Surprised he's old enough to be playing league football.
Oh yeah, he got 12 months prison, wholly suspended for 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, okay.
Which is nothing.
Yeah, that's almost literally nothing.
He doesn't go to the games anymore, does he?
No.
I wonder if he still wears that gold jacket in prison.
Only to bar mitzvahs.
Only in the showers.
Yeah.
So 11 and a half minutes here. Bombers kind of threatening. It's still a decent margin. Another inside 50. Was that a throw? Stringer.
Oh, no.
Oh, that was great. Oh.
If he takes that, that's probably a goal.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like how the Carlton Richmond game last week. Like late in the game, Cy Bolton just couldn't grab the ball.
He kicked that.
Yeah, I think he was alright. Oh.
Wow. Is that Merritt?
Gresham.
No, Gresham.
He did look like Merritt for a second.
Ugh.
That was a great tackle. Owen Davey Jr.
Was.
It's so weird seeing father sons of players that were like around when we were
that long ago.
Young. Yeah, like Owen Davey, I remember quite well. That doesn't feel like that long ago at all.
No.
Not my time.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who else has father sons, like where I remember the player. There's a bunch. Oh, there's like 4 Burgoynes in this coming draft.
Obviously, Ashcroft.
Jace Burgoyne.
Oh, Ashcroft. True, that was still.
And there's another one. There's another Ashcroft coming.
Yeah, Levi.
And there's what's his name? Jace Burgoyne.
Jace Burgoyne's true. He's already on the list. But there's 4 more Burgoynes. I think 2
or
3 might be.
Kids?
I think 2 or 3 are, but one of them's Hawthorn eligible, so it must be Sean's.
I do remember Peter. He was actually quite a good player.
Yeah, I caught the end of Peter. Brent Montgomery's son, bit of obscure, but he was still around when I started watching. He's eligible this year, Louis.
We got a father son who I've never heard of before coming up.
Oh, there's Dustin Fletcher's son's come and gone. Almost played at the same time.
Isn't he in the NFL?
I mean, Dustin Fletcher literally played with both I forget his name. Both Watsons.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he played with Job and I forget the older one's name.
Ali Reid's so good. I've heard they're looking at his dad in the father son.
Riley Reid?
Is that his name?
No.
No.
It's a very famous monster.
No. Oh, so
Yeah. I know.
Google it.
Was that like Logan's girlfriend or something for a while, or Mike's?
No, you're thinking of Lana Rhodes. Yeah.
Though Riley Reid did date that Raka.
I don't
Really?
know who that is.
The
What, the pipsqueak? Like,
no, it's one of the brothers. They did like
Yeah.
they're Australian YouTubers. They did
Talk
stuff
to
with
me.
like Sidemen and stuff like that.
What
Have
are
you
they
seen that
called?
movie? It's
Raka.
They just released a movie this year. It's really good. Really good horror
Yeah.
movie.
Are they Australian?
Yeah, they're from Adelaide, I think.
All right. Is that a
Probably-
Golden
they're
Goblin?
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're one of Australia's biggest YouTubers for sure.
Literally never heard of them. Wow.
Yeah, they're good mates with Logan and KSI.
Yeah, right.
There's actually like a Sideman like reference in their movie. Like some kids watching them on
That's
like, a
right.
smartphone in the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. How about fucking Jake Paul fighting Mike Tyson?
Love
Yeah.
it. So keen. It's gonna be on Netflix.
I'm so interested to see how Mike Tyson goes.
Yeah.
See if it's gonna be like kind of put up something to fight, or it's gonna look just be sad.
He's still got some power. Like that doesn't leave you. It'll be the reflexes as much as anything.
Like
That
I didn't see
won't be
the sorry, that's distracted.
Saints, Dale Goodman's asking if Saints should look at Lockie Neal, given the Ross connection. Probably not, because...
I mean, would Lockie Neal look at them?
Yeah.
Well, he might at this, right?
Yeah.
I doubt it, though, seeing as he left Ross Lyons
I still can't
to
believe
go
that-
to Brisbane.
I still can't believe the talk that was like about him coming back to Freo not so long ago.
Mm.
You know what? I think that very possibly would have happened if Ryan Daniels hadn't broken it so early.
Yeah, I actually watched that old clip
Yeah.
like 2 days ago. I've got a Lockie Neal video coming out of doing like an alternate reality where he didn't leave Fremantle. And yeah, I went back and watched that clip. He said the same thing. He's like, he felt like he impacted it by releasing the story when he did.
There's a lot of Dockers fans that think there's another player who's in a similar category from the Swans, but that they reckon Ryan Daniels. Don't ask me how they know, but he's sitting on it, but won't reveal it because he doesn't want to fuck it up.
Oh, really?
And it's not Logan McDonald.
Really?
Yeah, it's not hard to work out who it might be.
Well, yeah, there's one that
Roddy Grundy, it must be.
them too,
Going
but
to the
there's
fourth club.
It's
There's another-
McInerney.
Yeah, there's another West Australian one that I'm thinking of.
Could be onto something.
Angus Sheldrick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's actually
right.
Dean Cox.
if it's the player I'm thinking of, I feel like it's an odd target for you.
Uh,
I mean, you still do it.
yeah,
but-
I think for sure.
I mean, you lost some wingmen, so probably could do with another one.
Yeah. Wingman.
I think
McInerney's
I think he took the McInerney thing seriously.
Yeah, no, I was.
no,
I
that was a
was
racist
thinking this. I mean, it's just big footy, so it's bullshit. But Chad Warner is.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it's hard to see him leaving the Swans. It's just big footy as well. But you know how some people in big footy just seem weirdly confident for no reason.
Yeah, we've all been misled on
I-
big footy
I-
before.
I love it when big footy posters like say like, "Oh, this is going to happen. This is a fact," and then never happens.
Yeah. Brendan Goddard has bought a house in Perth. He's coming to Fremantle. Lock it in.
Yeah.
That's like what it was, I swear, for like 3 years in a row.
Yeah. G'day, I'm shipping up to Boston. Welcome, mate.
Nice name. Great song.
I'm shipping up to Boston. Whoa.
There's been a few big footy gems. Like, I've been on there for like 15 years. I go on it most days. So I feel like from a West Coast point of view, I realize I know who's in the know and who's not. And there's one guy that's been routinely. There's one guy on there that was a recruiter for Essendon and Carlton. He gives you really good info. He can't really comment on much at the time. He kind of gives hints as to who he works for, and then after the trade period, he sort of opens up.
Yeah.
And he was slaughtering Dodoro because Dodoro fucked Essendon, according to him.
Yeah.
But a different guy, I think, works at the Eagles, and he more or less gave away that Sam Mitchell was coming to West Coast right before it happened, which is a pretty big story to get right. So there are people who genuinely do know shit. It's
I've seen some. Hey.
Yeah.
I can't see how someone would think Dodoro didn't win the trade period. He always seems to do that.
Yeah. I think what was said without being able to remember all the details was that Dodoro was going against what everyone else in the team was saying and making his own decisions and fucking up other plans and almost ruin the Mackay thing. That's what somebody else said on Big Footy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad Dodoro's gone because he's just so much of a hard ass.
Yeah. Oh,
he's almost so much of a hard ass where it kind of it negatively affects Essendon as much as it negatively affects other clubs.
Yeah,
he doesn't know how to say yes to a reasonable deal.
It's funny. He got Vozo. Well, they got Vozo from us, and admittedly, CEO, not the same role, but Vozo was notorious for being so generous at the trade table. So it'll be interesting to see if that changes now.
I mean, I think Graham Wright, the Pies, who's manager of football, and even before that, we've always kind of been a bit generous with our trades.
Mm-hmm.
I almost like it a bit where it's a bit clubs are more likely to kind of work with us a bit.
Yeah,
we're a bit more generous, but it's about getting it done.
Yeah.
That's how we paid a bit overs for say a Bobby Hill for what he was worth.
Yeah.
Early, but that obviously ended up going pretty well.
Yeah, same thing with West Coast and Tim Kelly. That deal, big trades never get done on day two, and yet the Eagles gave the absolute maximum that was possible, and it was done by day two. But the way they explained it was trying to look after the well-being of a player, particularly in Tim's situation. He had two young kids and his life was up in the air.
So I look at that deal and I think they probably gave up a bit too much. Where there was a bit over, there was a lot overboard. Where some I think the happy medium was you probably we probably paid a bit too much, but we got it done.
Exactly.
Jesus, we paid a lot.
Yeah. That being said, there's also the idea of football karma and teams dealing well with you the next time. But I don't think that's happened for West Coast. I don't remember the last time a team was generous with us. Maybe Hawthorn and Brockman, but I don't know.
I mean, yeah, we haven't been generous, but we had to pay a third rounder for Billy Phantom, and he was about to get delisted.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that is a lot actually.
Yeah, it's whatever. I feel third rounders and above was you don't really miss them too much.
Yeah, I suppose as well with Collingwood's third rounder, it'd be late third.
Yeah.
So you're pushing 55, 60 at that point. Whereas for West Coast, it'd be a third rounder could be pick 37 in theory.
Yeah. That Mitchell Henry deal was that freeway trade was really interesting trade. They happened really late.
I don't remember.
I never seen stuff over Tom Mitchell's in his podcast, the ball magnets and stuff. I was he was sitting there thinking on the phone, is it going to get done? He wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Last second.
Yeah.
He met up with
Freo was the same.
Who?
O'Meara to Freo. He said He said he had literally 24 hours to decide if he wanted to, like, leave Hawthorn.
I feel like Aish must have been similar. I feel like Aish was a real deadline day deal.
And Aish has been really good for us. Like,
I'm so happy Ash has been playing well for you guys.
yeah,
Like he never had like a. He was never going to have like a spot at our list at the time, like on our best 22. And so I was like happy to have him leave to get more opportunity, and I'm so glad he's done well.
he's just like surprisingly, he's just really solid, like just reliable. He's a good, like, every team needs like good squad players, right? He's a good like squad player. Like,
Yeah.
if you got like James Aishas and you're like 15 to 22 selected, you know what I mean? Like that.
Don't trust him to hold an umbrella for you there.
Why's that?
It was like this story back in like a while ago where he was dating this like model or something like that, an athlete actually, I think it was, like a sprinter, and they were going into some event and it was raining and he just had the umbrella over himself and she was like walking next to him in the rain.
That's pretty funny.
Taj points out West Coast got the best of Jeddah and Sinclair situation. I think that was a straight swap in the end. So,
and that's game.
God. Right. Warner is so good.
Yeah. I feel like he came out on, not that this really means a lot, but on Backchat, I feel like he was pretty resolute in his comments that he was going to stay at Sydney.
Yeah.
But
I would not think he would leave.
His brother does play there as well.
Yeah. Is his brother going to be there long term, though?
Probably not.
I wouldn't, yeah.
Papley 126, Goulden 120, Heaney 111 again, Setterfield 108.
Heaney's like, he'd have to be have 9 votes, I reckon, at the moment.
He might have not got the 3 last week. I thought Warner might have got him.
Well, either he or Warner, but Heaney still got 2 goals, 29 disposals.
It would have been Heaney getting the 3.
It would have been one of those two. Warner got 3 goals, to be fair.
Yeah.
I thought Warner was for the best when I was watching, but it like if he didn't get 3, he got 2.
Yeah.
Pretty good tonight. Still, I'm not going to get, probably doesn't get votes.
Yeah.
Maybe gets, no, probably not. Probably maybe gets to 1.
Who, Heaney or Warner?
Heaney, yeah. Heaney probably gets to 1.
Those would be the best 2 again, probably.
Papley and Goulden, the other 2.
Are you happy if you're an Essendon fan with this result? Or how happy is the question?
I think you'd be like, I wouldn't be too gutted.
They played decent, to be fair, and they competed for like 95%.
This is about like the expected result, you would think.
Yeah, I think that's.
I feel like they might have even exceeded. Like, I think Sydney, beat Melbourne very easily or quite easily. Beat Collingwood very easily. Obviously, Collingwood in a form slump, but I think if I was an Essendon fan, I'd be like, okay, good. Like, we didn't show up and get battered. Like, we held our own and got beaten by a better team on their own deck. I think this is a good result for them overall.
I think
Sydney,
you'd be more
sure.
disappointed. Right. Yeah, exactly right. In Sydney, I think you're more disappointed as an Essendon fan if this was in Melbourne.
Mm.
But like Sydney have such a good record here. What do you think?
Yeah. Oh,
Jordan now will go well for this fantasy supercut.
Yeah, I was going to say I've got him in my forward line. I'm glad that happened.
I think he's sitting in my midfield at the moment, but like I have DPP, so
yeah, happy with that. That's a +9, I think.
I've got Grundy and Roberts. Roberts is on 76. Nice.
Yeah, he's on my bench.
He's at 82, actually.
Oh, nice.
I'm on this website that does tracks it. But
great goal. Far out.
He's on 92, Supercoach Roberts.
Oh, yeah, good.
Grundy 99.
Yeah, I got Grundy too.
Heaney 129, Supercoach. Goulden 152. And Papley 154. In the way.
Damn, Daniel.
Back
at it again with the white vans.
What was that? Was that a vine?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that being a thing because Bush's name is Daniel as well. I feel like we said that to him a lot. I don't know. We were very cool. I say we. I don't know if it was me.
I mean, keyword were.
Yeah. It's been a downhill decline since then.
Oh, sure. Warner.
Wow, they've really run away with this.
God.
The score.
Yeah, I think maybe we spoke a bit too soon.
Yeah. I still think Essendon for 3.5 quarters were pretty damn good. In fact, even with 6 minutes to go, they made a little charge. I don't think it's too big a deal.
As in on the 3 votes, I think. Did you mean? Or on the Essendon thing?
Both, probably.
Yeah, right.
I'd probably put Warner ahead of Heaney now for this game.
Yeah. I think
Papley gets 3 votes, though. 4 goals, 24 touches, 10 marks.
Yeah, I think I would probably
also when the game is in one.
Papley, because he did it pretty early as well.
Yeah, like even when they were like slightly behind, he was kicking goals.
I think I'll probably go Papley, Warner, and then like Golden. Heaney, tough to miss out.
I just feel like Warner is he's so good on the transition. I don't know if there's a better footballer in the league at the moment that at receiving and then running through the corridor and then delivering inside 50 or finishing than Warner. Hey.
Yeah, he's got he gets from contest to contest really well, inside and out.
He's so evasive as well for a midfielder.
Yeah.
But you also see him do the occasional fend off, which he must be really strong for his size.
Yeah.
If he just got his hair fixed up, he'd probably
under target Martin. That's good. I also know Nick Martin.
I never got Nick Martin. He was in my team, bounced out. Shame.
I think he was bad last week. Fantasy wise, he was fine. Supercoach wise, he was awful.
Yeah.
Just because he used the ball so poorly.
Yeah.
So this is
a bit
more of an up game.
Oh, nice finish.
The reasoning for picking Nick Martin was basically put in midfield, he'll get DPP, and he could probably maybe be a defender keeper.
Yeah.
In the new role, but Supercoach wise, it's still he'll make money, but it'll probably still be at worst a D9.
I got a lot of players in my team that are just there for money, like Riley Bonner, for instance. There's heaps.
Yeah, same. I feel like fantasy that's the way to go though.
Yeah,
early days because you can make up those points. The cash is everything in fantasy.
Yeah. That's not typically how I play, so I'm doing that a little differently this year. Hopefully,
it's cash and finding value.
Yeah,
because you can because players will the more expensive players will drop off a bit.
Yeah,
and you can make up those points elsewhere by catching up and getting those players later on.
Yeah,
where other people with more guns and rookies will kind of get some decent scores, but also get some poor scores as well as not making as much cash.
Yeah. Does Merritt get a vote in this game? 2 goals, 32 touches. He probably does get a vote. He might even get 2. He was very good.
I don't see.
I don't know. I don't think so. It feels a bit closer.
Yeah,
I think probably but I think Sydney have so many players who are on that same level.
Gresham 3 goals, 23 touches. Not bad. For his second game.
Don't forget, Swans also had 17 behinds.
Yeah.
Well, Hayward,
high scoring game.
3 goals.
Yeah, it's not often you see both teams score 100.
It's 230, and there was also 28 behinds kicked from both sides as well. End to end, which is good football.
Sam Draper, did he get subbed out? I didn't even notice.
I didn't notice either.
I feel like this is a real 2004 scoreline. The scores have really declined in the last 20 years.
I'm looking at like Sam Draper. This is my like hot take about Draper. Is that like the only reason people like really rate him is because of the mullet mustache combo. If he didn't have that, he would just look normal. People would be like, oh, he's just your average ruckman.
Yeah, he's not actually a particularly accomplished ruck, but he is quite young.
Yeah.
Like in ruckman terms, he's still not in his prime yet. So, and he kicks goals too. So you'd think like with Goldstein in the team, like that combo gets a little bit better rather than just Draper on his own.
That's just also me being salty that he got goal of the year over Josh Dacos.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I still think the only reason he got goal of the year is because he's a ruckman, and ruckmen aren't supposed to do that.
True.
It was.
Yeah, I wonder if Nick Nat ever won.
It was.
I don't know if he did. I
think like a midfielder kicks out. That's like I don't think that's in the conversation.
Yeah. Just get to the chat. We'll probably wrap it up soon. But Taj says if Sydney had kicked straight from their set shots, they would have won by 50 plus. Yeah, I don't know. But 19-17 is still fairly accurate. Like, it's not terrible.
Yeah, that's been pretty good for like 3 quarters. They get away with it. Swans just ran away with it at the end.
Yeah. Snazzy Shoes, okay, rub it in. No, I don't think there's too much to rub in here with Essendon. I think they're okay.
Yeah.
Again, Jesse can't rub it in with anyone.
Yeah, it's true.
Especially women.
Yeah, I was going to say, especially according to my ex. Gross. Yeah, I thought they were okay. Neat Night has the very famous point of the century. Yeah, I forget who that was against. It might have even been against Essendon. I can't remember. Where he like taps it out of the ruck, keeps going and kicks, and it just misses. Yeah. Cool. All right, gentlemen, we might wrap it up there. It's just taken nearly 3 hours, but this has been wonderful. Good game.
Nice.
I was expecting. I was a little worried that this game would be an annihilation.
Yeah.
You never know.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no, thank you, Rogie.
Thanks, Jesse.
Yeah, no worries. And Jack
Honestly,
Tower says the expected result.
Should do this more. I'm too distracted to give memberships.
Oh, yeah. True. Yeah, no, thanks, mate. Yeah, Rogie's like one of the biggest investors in the True Footy YouTube channel. He's got shares now. Naming rights.
Naming rights.
Yeah.
I demand.
Thank you very much, everyone, for joining in. We'll be back. I'll be doing this again tomorrow for Eagles and GWS for an absolute blockbuster.
So Titans.
But yeah, catch you later, boys.
See you later.
Yeah. See you guys.